rob me. Today's the day to rob me.
Why?
Because last night I was like, Jeff, you're out of shape. You need to do some push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. And I did 10 squats, and now my legs are on fire. Like, I could hobble after you and be like,
So here's the thing.
Stop. Come on.
I used my Oculus, or the Meta Quest now, I guess now, and I use that because I'm also out of shape.
Yes.
And my legs also hurt.
Okay, great, good. Nobody's robbing anybody. That's a win for everybody involved. Welcome
We're
back
also
to
up
the
the stairs, which makes that worse.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast where nobody's robbing anybody. I'm Jeff.
And I'm like,
yeah, you gotta ease back into that shit, man. You can't just go whole ham, or else you're gonna be all sore and stuff. So
I decided to do Resident Evil 4 again for a little bit, and I forgot that I can't stand for long periods of time.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of quest games. There's a lot of VR games in general that want you to like duck, like squat, like combat squat, like pistol whip, and I'm just like, no, dude, I'm 40. I've got bad knees. I got a family history of bad knees.
Did I ever tell you the first time that ever happened to me?
No.
It wasn't even a VR game. It was I was like 14, 15, and it was this specific shooter called Police 911.
Yep.
You know exactly
you
what I'm talking
stand
about.
your feet on the thing, and then you've got to like sway.
Yeah,
and,
so you have to
duck
sway and
stuff.
squat and shit. I wasn't used to doing squats and shit. My body was destroyed the next day from having played that game.
It's one of those things. I mean, when you're an out of shape person, right? It's like you'll do a fun thing where it's like, hey, we're all gonna go down to the Pecan Street Festival this weekend and walk around and get some corn dogs and see some live music. The next day you wake up and you're just like, my legs, they don't exist anymore. What the fuck?
Exactly.
What just happened?
And I was in decent shape back then. Imagine now.
Yeah,
I could if I played Police 911 now, I would die on the spot.
I take a little bit of responsibility, but I don't take full responsibility because I've been locked in my house for 3 years. So
yes,
there's a little bit of atrophy.
It's not
going
my
on.
fault. It's the pizza's fault.
Anyway, we got a weird podcast. Some podcasts we have a theme or a big conference or whatever. This week it's like a random assortment of news.
There wasn't a lot of big shit
like
this week.
A kaleidoscope potpourri of news. There's no through line, but that's great because that means that we can fuck off enough at the beginning, and who knows whether we'll still have to do lightning round by the end. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen Zero finally.
Oh, that's right.
I've had the dates mixed up on that motherfucker for like 3 months, and I'm just like, it's fucking July 14th, right? And they're like,
You've ended a lot of podcasts going, I'm going to go watch this movie now.
Yep.
And then you find out after we're done.
It was September 21st, and it was like I was fucked up in like August and September, and so I finally watched it. It's great. Everyone should watch that shit. Like, you know what?
How long is it?
It's like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that.
Is there a dub for the dub people?
I don't know. I didn't
I'm just
check.
curious.
Probably.
I assume there is.
But
it was in a theater too at one point, right?
Yeah. It came to theaters it was in Japanese theaters last year, and then it came to U.S. theaters in like February, and I was like, well, surely by April it'll be on Crunchyroll, and it was like, no, it was like waiting for fucking Evangelion, just waiting and waiting and waiting. But no, the thing is, it's a prequel. For anybody who doesn't know, Jujutsu Kaisen is a shonen anime, like, Dragon Ball or My Hero Academia or Full Metal Alchemist. Pick your own shonen anime that you've watched and liked at one point. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, yes. Young man going to some sort of school with a bunch of friends. In this case, it's a curse thing. It turns out that there's magic, but all the magic is based on curses. And some people have curses, and then they fight curses, and they go to curse school to learn how to fight them curses.
Oh, this is the curses one.
This is the curses one. It's a horror shonen.
Okay.
So think more
For some reason, I thought this was one of the other ones that you're really into.
No.
And now I forgot which one this one was.
It's probably to do with soccer. There's another soccer anime that's starting, and I don't know.
This is not the soccer one?
This is not the soccer one.
Soccer curses, they call them.
Yes, soccer curses. No, it's really good though because
no, they call them football curses.
It's
that's right. That's the difference.
Like the monsters are really cool. Everybody's got really cool powers. There's a subplot in the main show where it's like there's a demon king that has 20 fingers because he's got 4 arms. And like a long time ago, he was killed, but his fingers are still out there. And so the first episode, the main character finds the demon king's finger and he eats it. And then he gets possessed by the demon king and he kills the demon that's going to kill his friends. And then like the cursed school, they're like, you have 2 options. We can murder you now to get that finger back because we're trying to collect them all to kill the Curse King, or you can go to school, keep collecting these fingers, eat all 20 of them, and once you've got the full demon lord in you, then we'll kill you, because one way or the other you're gonna get killed.
That's an interesting choice.
And he's like, and there's this whole weird subplot in the first episode where he's like, his grandpa, he's got one family member in his grandpa in his dying bed, and his grandpa's like, I didn't make any friends or do anything to help people in my life, so you motherfucker, he's like this grouchy old man, he's like, you've got to go out and make friends and help people with your life, don't waste your life like me. Blah. And so he eats the finger and becomes the Curse Lord, and he's like, well, I guess I gotta go to horror high school in order to figure out what's going on. And
if
then,
only the dad lived long enough to go to a candy factory or something.
Yeah,
that would have worked out.
Or like aliens turned him into a superhero robot or something.
Yeah, something insane.
But this one's a prequel to the whole thing, and it has a whole separate character. And it's more about like.
So it's not even about the guy.
It's not about the main character
Is it
from
just
the
about the
show.
Demon King?
It's about the academy. It's like
the academy itself.
Yeah, the story of the anime is that there's this guy, and he's got like he's a cursed entity attached to him that like if people bully him or if people are mean to him, this fucking monster erupts from him and just murders the shit out of them. And like they're like, okay, we're gonna put you to death. And then like the guy from the Curse Academy comes, he's like, no, come over here, we'll figure this out, we'll figure out how to make your cursed thing work for good. And so a lot of it is this guy going to curse school and like making friends with a bunch of the sub characters from the main anime, and then the bad guy I think might be the bad guy later down. I mean, there's only been 1 season, so we don't actually find out who the bad guy is in anime until fucking season 9, right?
It could be a manga thing.
Yes.
Where if you read the manga, you know who he is or something.
No, it turns out that the real evil is a clone of my dad who's channeling an evil god from an outer dimension or whatever.
Isn't that Final Fantasy X?
No, that was Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, that was
but yeah,
a lot of evil dads and stuff.
But it's really good. It's good. It's breezy. It's a great introduction. You don't have to know anything because and then the thing is that you could watch a full story with a beginning, a middle, and end. And at the end, you can be like, oh, I want to see more of that, and then go watch it. Or you could say, that was stupid and Jeff is dumb, and do not watch any more of it, but you've only wasted an hour and 45 minutes of your life.
I do appreciate that it is a prequel though.
Yeah,
because that's one of the reasons why I could recommend that the first Tiger and Bunny movie, because it's really just the first 3 episodes together with like an extra thing in the middle of it.
Yeah, I don't normally like a lot of anime movies. The ones that I like are the like Mugen Train, where it was just like, okay, this is just the first 6 episodes of the next season mooshed together into a movie. No. Like, this is not a side story that everybody has to pretend that nobody in the main anime ever talks about because it didn't exist when we made it.
Yeah, anime movies have been more willing to be part of their canon.
Yeah,
which was not a thing for a long, long time.
Because Dragon Ball does that, right?
It did for a while. It finally stopped doing that when Battle of Gods first came out, and that was their 15th movie. No, that was their 14th movie. And that was just the Dragon Ball Z movies. That's not counting the Dragon Ball movies.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was the first time I'd ever heard of that happening, though.
Yeah.
Because, well, then again, I don't pay attention to a lot of the other animes, but it was the first time it ever happened in Dragon Ball, was they're like, this is the actual next part of this story, is this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then the movie after that is the next part, and none of the movies they've made since are filler. These are like, this is the thing. This is the next part.
You know, I did want to take a brief minute to say that, like, a lot of times on this podcast, I feel like I'll say, hey, I watched this thing. It's not worth getting the service for, but, like, if you've got Netflix, go watch Sandman, right? But, like, if you're not interested in Sandman, I don't know that it's worth it. After the last couple of years, Michael, I think that, like, especially if you're burned out on the fucking Disney, Marvel, Netflix grind, like,
yeah,
Crunchyroll is a hell of a subscription service, right? Like,
Oh, it's great. It's got a bunch of animes that either A, you've never heard of, B, you have heard of, but they're in like Blu-ray ass quality.
right.
And it's fucking crazy.
But like the thing is that it's like,
Also, it's not the Funimation app because that app fucking sucks.
oh boy, did it ever. Is that like they've got shonen stuff, so if you're into action adventure, like all the shonen stuff is good. They've got seinen stuff, which is a little like skews older,
Yeah.
and then they've also got shoto stuff, which is more like kind of traditionally it's like seinen, shonen means like young boy, seinen means like older kids, and shoto is like the girls. So it's, here's the girls stuff.
It's a lot of romance animes.
And slice of life and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot on there like that.
It's really solid. There's so many things on there, and they do new stuff all the time.
Yeah. And a lot of finished series or series that are, and they do very good with their simulcast, etc.
Some of the
Anyway,
Gundam stuff's on there too. It's a really
hey,
popular
Crunchyroll,
service.
give me free Crunchyroll. I mean, like, I'll put a link or something in the description. Michael, what have you been up to in the last week or so?
So I decided to watch that show on Hulu called Reboot.
I've heard good stuff.
And it's not the 90s reboot show about
right.
people in the computer.
It's not the reboot of Reboot.
Yeah,
that was on Netflix.
That's another fucking thing I'd rather not talk about. But this is a show about like basically an indie darling is asked what is your next project? What do you want your next project to be like in front of a big studio person? And they're just like, well, I want to remake this sitcom called Step Up. And they're just like, well, that's fucking weird. Like, why? It's like, it's a really wholesome show. It's like if James Gunn was like, I want to remake Full House.
Right.
Like, you'd be confused as to why that person would do such a thing.
It'd be like if Rob Zombie wanted to make a Monsters movie.
Exactly. Or
you'd be like, what the fuck is that? That sounds stupid.
yeah. And so she's like, well, I want it to make it edgy. And they're like, okay, I guess because they're like, everyone's making a reboot, so I guess why don't us?
Sure.
And so the plot of it is like her getting all the cast back. Haven't really done anything in a long time.
Yeah.
But the original showrunner comes back because he's not a fan of the trying to make it edgy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a whole twist involving her and the original showrunner, and then it just goes from there. Like, I don't want to spoil what the twist is because I think that's really sells that first like episode, I feel.
Okay.
But then it becomes a clashing of like some newer ideas for like what she wants to do and older ideas like what he wants to do, because he has like old timey Full House ideas where like what if there was a hot guy and they were trying to like date the guy and they were fighting each other over the hot guy, and they're like, well, that fails the Bechdel test, and he's like, I don't know what that is. Kind of thing. And then on the cast side, the cast is dealing with the fact that they have past history with each other. So they're trying to figure that stuff out at one point, and there's a new cast member as well that causes some weird shit. And then like Johnny Knoxville's great in it, by the way.
Oh, is he in there?
Because Johnny Knoxville plays one of the original actors.
Okay.
So does Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah, I knew he was in that.
He plays the guy who's like the original dad character. I forgot. I don't know the actor who plays the kid, but he used to be in a lot of Disney shows.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I actually got a recording of him from my niece like ages ago. But he's really funny because he shows up as like, he's now an adult, and but he's still like stuck in Arrested Development in a lot of ways.
Oh, Rachel Bloom is on there?
Rachel Bloom is the indie darling.
I love Rachel Bloom.
She's fucking great.
I love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah. So and then
and Judy Greer and
plays
Paul
the
Reiser?
original mom.
Oh,
Paul
shit.
Reiser is the one who's the original showrunner.
Okay.
And
Is it Callum Worthy, the guy?
Callum Worthy, that's that. And he's really funny because like when they first show up, like none of them remember who he was.
Okay.
It's like, it's me, Zach. And they're like, who? It's like the kid. They're like, oh, that's right. It's like, it's weird that you guys never talked to me after the show ended, like at all.
That's a really solid cast.
It's really funny.
Check it out.
There's 4 episodes currently.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I would love to mention, but I don't want to spoil some of it because it is funny. Like there's a point where Johnny Knoxville has something going on with Zach, and then there's a thing.
It looks like the guy that's the showrunner. The place where he has like director, writer, producer, and creator credits were Modern Family, which
it's about
it seems
50-50.
very popular.
The beginning of Modern Family I really liked. After a while, Modern Family got really kind of boring.
Stacked.
I don't know which one that one is.
Stark Raving Mad and Just Shoot Me. I've never heard of
They
half
also
of
did
these
Greg the
shows.
Bunny, apparently, which I didn't realize.
Pamela Anderson is in Stacked as Skylar Dayton, tired of her nonstop partying lifestyle, enters Stacked, a small family-run bookstore, and takes a job. What the fuck? And Christopher Lloyd? What is this show?
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
This show before.
But I decided to watch Reboot after we finished recording yesterday.
Yeah.
I got home and I sat down and I was like, well, I still got some time before I have to go to sleep. And so I put it on and I was like, this show's great.
What the fuck what am I looking at, Michael? This is the Stark Raving Mad. Tony Shalhoub stars as an odd horror novelist, Ian Stark, who's obsessed with practical jokes and whose first book, Below Ground, was a bestseller. Neil Patrick Harris is Stark's reluctant editor. Henry McNeely, who has a variety of phobias and possibly obsessive compulsive disorder.
How have I not heard of half of these shows?
I would like to watch. Well, it's one. It was one season. It had 22 episodes, and 4 of them never hit the air.
Oh, jeez. God damn.
But like, what the hell? Okay,
Yeah,
all
this
right.
guy has a really weird career, but at least the person who's like helped make this thing.
Very strange.
But I really like it a lot though so far.
Okay.
Because it makes fun of the fact that, like, you know, a lot of times have changed.
Yeah.
But also sometimes you just want an old sitcom joke. And
This kind of tying into your BoJack Horseman thing too, a little bit.
not really.
No?
Well, not entirely. Not
Okay.
the same way, because it's not like super depressing.
Okay.
Because BoJack Horseman's about like a dude dealing with like depression and shit.
Yeah.
Where this is more like there's some of that in there, but it involves like mostly the showrunner and the original showrunner, the new showrunner, the original showrunner.
Okay.
Where everybody else is just having weird shit happening to them.
I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna start looking up TV sitcoms that nobody's ever heard of before, and I'm gonna start start a whole separate channel that's just like, we're gonna review the Tony Shalhoub, Neil Patrick Harris comedy that never finished its first season.
Oh, jeez. You can watch Silk Stockings if anybody remembers that show.
Is that just softcore pornography?
It was.
Well, speaking of spicy situations, we got some news. And yeah, let's start with the fact. Last week we talked about the GTA 6 leak.
Because it was linked.
It was linked.
It's on Twitter and everything.
London police have arrested a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, you mean because of the hacking thing?
Yes, yes. They basically.
You're like, come on out. We don't have guns here.
Right. They just hold up the stars. They hold up 5 stars in front of the house. Come on out, or we're gonna waste you.
Come on.
So yeah, a kid got arrested, and this kid was linked to the hacking collective that did the Uber breaches and stuff like that. Apparently, they've been charged, but have pled not guilty. We don't know that much more than that because this is one of those like law enforcement stories where law enforcement don't put out fucking press releases of shit.
It's an ongoing investigation.
Yep.
The man's like, I did nothing. It was the one-armed man. And
Right.
they can't say whether or not it was a one-armed man. 'Cause it's ongoing.
Remember we had that story about that? It was like that guy in like Thailand or something that like it was an international manhunt for him, and it was like,
yeah.
I can't find him. So
He was the like head of something, if I remember correctly. I can't remember what it was.
yeah.
But he just disappeared.
So yeah, this happened, and I'm pretty sure that they probably found the right guy. It's funny. I read this story, and to me, the very first thing that happened was like, do the Youngs know that like that shit's a crime? They're like, yeah, it's for the lulz and everything, but like, there's a big difference between I'm going to pirate some Star Trek Deep Space Nine episodes off of the Pirate Bay, and I'm going to publish like an hour of leaked like footage that I got off of the Rockstar Slack. Like, you can't just leak. Well, I guess you can just leak data. Maybe I'm being stupid.
Well, no, here's the thing. Well, it's still a crime because of how he did it.
Right.
The issue comes down to like anybody before the age of 25 is really stupid.
Well, there's that.
And because because this isn't the only news story I read this week of somebody in their teens doing something stupid that that caused the felony issue.
Yeah.
I read one where it was like a 14-year-old was like, I want to skip school. But how would I do such a thing? What if I anonymously told them somebody was going to shoot up the school?
Oh, right.
Like a fucking idiot.
Yeah. No, I was watching a live stream where somebody was trying to argue with another streamer, and it was this young guy. And it was like a guy in his early 20s who was like, I got it all figured out. I'm going to tell you the secret to how to do everything. And it was like, I was like, you idiot. That's not true. But then on the other hand, it's like, yes, but when I was 21, I thought I knew everything as well.
Did.
And like, you can't tell them. You can't be like, you're brain damaged. Your brain is damaged. You're not, you're a green banana, buddy. Come back when you're yellow.
You're almost there. You're so close.
Yep.
Just don't fucking say anything else and you'll be fine.
Yep. I don't know. Some of this stuff is like, I don't know, kind of one of those like, well, what did you think would happen? Or like the I always wonder, we have that story about the guys that made the Destiny cheats, and it's like, you when you started this quote unquote business, you had to know that at some point Bungie was going to show up with lawyers and be like, now we're going to take you to court. Now we're going to sue you for fucking $500,000 in lost revenue. Like,
Well, see, what this guy expected was he expected John Travolta to show up and be like, you're a great hacker. Here's Halle Berry's tits. And then now fucking do something.
Here's a computer with 9 monitors. Now I'm going to put a gun to your head, write a virus while this lady sucks your dick. And it's like, what?
Get me Grand Theft Auto 6.
Good. Now I'll be back later. I've got to go to the world's worst facial hair competition. Swordfish, baby.
Yeah. References.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. This stuff seems really dumb to me, but apparently I don't know. It's again, I looked last week at that Grand Theft Auto 6 hack and I was like, I mean, what the fuck? It's an in-development game. Like,
all you did was prove to me that it's a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah.
You didn't really show me anything.
I got confirmation that there's a new Grand Theft Auto game in the works.
There's not a point where Keanu Reeves shows up in the middle of it, so I don't know why you thought the internet would be excited about it.
True. Also, in other Rockstar news, Rockstar has disabled comments on all of their social media posts.
That's probably for the best.
Which, at first, I thought that this story was Rockstar had like disabled all of like their forums and everything. But when I looked into it, it was like, no, they just turned off like comments on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that bullshit because they knew that it would just be people spamming the leaks underneath every story that they put out.
Well, that or the dick pics. It's probably the dick pics.
Yeah. Well, the dick pics get handled by the platform, but like you're gonna be like, I gotta fucking go in and manually ban a whole bunch of people. So, yeah, I mean, I think when I read this story, Michael, I think the thing that went through my head was like, we're getting to a point on the internet with the internet where this Wild West shit is going to start coming to an end because everybody keeps pushing until it breaks. They keep breaking it over and over again. It's just like, well, you motherfuckers are not responsible with freedom, or like 10% of you are the worst fucking people in the world and cannot be trusted with the ability to type whatever you think into a public platform.
Well, it's why the weird shit's going on with with some shooter stuff right now.
Yeah,
which I know we're going to talk about later. But I know Modern Warfare 2 had the same weird thing attached to it because people are shitty and they're trying to curb the shittiness.
Yep.
But boy, oh howdy, is it going to be annoying as shit to the rest of the world?
Well, I tell you what, let's not beat around the bush. Let's talk about it right now. That's not the news story that I put in my... I just opened a tab that says Ben & Jerry pushing black voter turnout with new ice cream rebrand.
That's right, Ben & Jerry.
That was not my intention. Oh, no. Okay. Apparently, I just saved the wrong link in my thing. Anyway, let me see if I can find the actual story. Basically, people are being incredibly stupid to the makers of Apex Legends.
Yes.
People are getting are being complete and total shitbags online. And it's kind of, what the fuck is this news story? What? God damn it.
Just search for it.
Yes, I should just search for it.
Just type in Ben and Jerry.
Just type in Ben and Jerry black voter turnout. There we go. That's the story. Anyway, I don't even know why I need to put it up because it's stupid. It's like people. I don't, Michael. I mean, why? Why would you do it? Are you so like? You know, it's like if people didn't like the games that RageSelect was playing.
We should probably say what's happening first.
Okay, Apex Legends developers are getting death threats and shit on Twitter.
Like, you make it sound like somebody was murdered.
Yes. No, but I mean, like, you know, it would be like if somebody didn't like the games that were played on RageSelect and then they emailed you death threats, and it's like, I don't control this shit. This isn't my, like, the programmers that work do not control which bugs get fixed in what order or what development is. Like, I've never understood the idea of going after individual developers. And even if they did control it, I mean, you guys know that the people that make decisions, they don't care about what you think. They only care about money.
No, yeah, that's always been the thing. Hell, this game shouldn't exist half the time. Like, in general, it kind of just appeared.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone gave a shit about it originally. It just happened to make money, and now some people care.
Yeah, and so Respawn put out a statement, basically saying, like, they said recently we have seen increased harassment towards members of our development team. We welcome community input. However, the line between constructive feedback and the harassment of our dev team cannot be crossed. We want to remind our players that we have a zero tolerance policy for threats and the harassment of our developers. We will take appropriate action to ensure the health and safety of our team. We love hearing feedback, and we'll continue to work alongside our community to foster a respectful, collaborative environment and uphold the integrity, the competitive integrity of our game. This was also coupled with, I think I ran into this because fucking T-Pain tweeted about this.
T-Pain is a surprisingly popular Twitch streamer.
Yeah. Who retweeted their statement saying, bro, y'all have to chill. You have to fucking chill out. It's a fucking game, my dude. Play something else if you hate it so much. Walk away from your PC/console if you've become so consumed by a game that you feel the need to threaten the people that work hard to make it. Chill, bro. And I swear to God, I clicked on that because I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And in the responses on his Twitter, he was like, well, how else are we supposed to be taken seriously? And it's like, I got news for you. That's not the way.
No.
This is the opposite of the Mandalorian. Like, you're only going to, I mean,
people do stuff out of spite for lesser things.
Yeah.
If somebody said, hey, I think your mustache is stupid, be like, well, now I'm not going to do shit for you.
Exactly. I know a lot of people, a lot of creative people, a lot of headstrong people, a lot of people that I like to hang out with. It's like the minute you tell them to do anything, it's like, no. Right, hey man, your foot's on fire. You should probably put it out. You're like, you go fuck yourself. I didn't even like this foot.
He's like, I know. It's a fashion statement.
Yeah, it's what the kids are into. I'm gonna chop it off later for a snack, and it's gonna be all nice and barbecued and delicious and smoky and shit. But like, what do you think is gonna happen? That you know, Respawn is gonna be like, oh no, we must cave to the chuds online demanding that we do a thing. So that they'll stop harassing our developers. First off, everybody knows that even if they did what you wanted, you'd find a new reason because, like, it's like the fucking Snyder Cut bros. You would only be emboldened by the fact that they caved to your demands to the point where that if they fix the things that you were asking about, the next thing you do is start demanding feature additions, demanding new changes. And if you didn't get your way, you would go back to fucking threatening them because that's...
Also, by the way, this is low-level terrorism.
Well,
like that's literally like the definition of it.
There's that too. But yeah, I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, this is stupid. What? Who?
I don't get it either. People are crazy.
Yeah. Stop it. Or we're just going to make it so you can't go online until you're like 30. Oh, man. What an internet that would be.
That would be weird.
Ooh, that'd be a cool internet.
That'd be fascinating.
Or, like, let's say if you're 30 and...
How would you prove that, though?
You got to put in your driver's license number before you can get online. At least that would keep people 17 and below off the internet.
It would maybe. I don't know. You could always like borrow a friend's ID or something.
Yeah,
I don't really know how that would work. I don't know.
Neither do I. Actually, there is. we have a story later on that touches on this a little bit, but we'll get to that in a minute because we're not done with the train just yet, because Yves Guillemot was
I
in
read
the
this one.
news. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
He was having an interview where he talked about how it's necessary for games to have like friction and tension in the development process, and that it was basically just really tone deaf. Like, it's obvious that Yves doesn't have any idea what the fuck is going on and or doesn't care. Like,
it's probably both.
Wants it to go away, does not want to address anything. I mean, the problem here, of course, is that like this game company is run by a family.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like, you're going to fire Yves and pick the best person for the CEO position. No, it's a family-run company. They like hire their like nephews and cousins and fucking like immediate family and shit to work there.
They honestly don't care. Like I feel like that's been the case with Ubisoft for not a long time, but for long enough that Ubisoft is now a shadow of its former self.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also think that it's interesting to see how it's also been really interesting to see how Ubisoft in general seems like it kind of seems like nobody gives a shit that Ubisoft is terrible. Like, people walking out having like protests in front of Activision and fucking putting devil horns on Bobby Kotick and like all this
he's
bullshit.
French.
Maybe, but they're a multinational corporation with like offices all over the globe. I mean, fucking Ubisoft Singapore is making Skull and Bones, I assume.
Yeah, that's true.
There's like Ubisoft Montreal and there's like the base Ubisoft. I mean, there's like all these Ubisoft studios all over the place, and like they're a big company. Like, I don't play any of their games, but their games are not unpopular.
No.
And yet nobody seems to care. Like,
I don't really. Yeah, I've never figured it out other than the fact that no one has any urge to fight Ubisoft because they don't make anything anyone cares about anymore the way they used to.
Yeah.
Because they only kind of make that people still are like, hey, Ubisoft made this is Assassin's Creed, and even that, has kind of lost favor among gamers in the past title. Like, and what was the other one? Far Cry. A lot of people don't even like Far Cry 6.
I think that there's a lot of people that are playing their games that we don't see, because I know Siege is really big.
Siege is doing fine.
I bet the Division 2 still has people playing it.
I think it's the general audience just isn't as focused on actually, you know what? Here's the better way of putting it. Activision has been making so many insane choices that everyone can see out in the open.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft's most of their terrible choices are in the background.
I don't want to...
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. Well, yeah, the thing is that they had... I mean, maybe the biggest thing... Well, okay... let me think about how best to phrase. Like,
because every time Activision makes a terrible decision, it involves something with the game itself, with a game itself.
Yeah.
So more people are focused on it. Whereas because even the sexual harassment stuff, some people slowly forgot about that.
Sure.
But every time they're like, well, we did this thing where now the only way you can play a game is somebody has to show up and punch you in the balls. And then everyone pays attention to that because it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing?
Right, but and
then Ubisoft's like, we've been harassing people. Here's an Assassin's Creed game. And the general audience is like, look, an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, but like the whole fucking like NFT marketplace and shit. Like
yeah, but all that stuff dies down really easy because they don't keep doing it over and over again.
I feel like they've been doing a lot of stupid shit for a while now.
They but not compared to Activision's dumb shit.
But but that's what's really weird about it is that like
it's weird. No, I get it.
Maybe
it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Maybe this isn't
an opinion.
Maybe this is maybe this is what I don't understand. It seems like the employees at Activision were mad to the point where they were like, we're going to go walk outside and call the news and hold up signs and fucking like unionize and like all this shit. And Ubisoft is like, we've created an organization called A Better Ubisoft, and we demand representation in our corporate structure. And corporate structure is like, cool. And then like 2 years later, they're just like, we continue to demand representation in our corporate structure. And they're like, yeah, no, we totally hear you. And it's like, why don't you guys walk out on the street and have a big protest? Why don't you unionize? Why don't you do some of the other stuff that's
true.
Maybe it's because they're based in France. Maybe they already have like,
are they in France?
I mean, Ubisoft is in France.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yves Guillemot.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure. Well, I wasn't sure if it was in France or like Canada because that.
Maybe
that's the other thing.
I thought they were in France.
Well,
but
I never know with companies lately. At least especially companies like this. Because I always assume they're only French, but then I remember, French Canada, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I assume it's because there are different things that happen over there in general. Like it might just be the political climate or something.
Possibly.
I don't really know, to be honest.
I mean, I know that but then they have offices, here in the United States and in Canada and other places.
People,
and stuff.
commenters, I'm legitimately curious as to what you think what the difference is.
I mean, here's a thing, Michael. Here's a thing. Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The entire internet has been talking about a lot of different things, and I think out of the 4 or 5 websites that I look through to get news every week, I believe one of them was reporting on the Splinter Cell remake that is occurring. Did you know there was a Splinter Cell remake that was occurring?
I did not. I saw this on the story thing, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's a Splinter Cell remake happening, and I'm sad about it now. After years of asking for it, I'm like, you'll notice that like 2 years ago, I stopped asking for it because I was like, please no, not this Ubisoft. I do not want this Ubisoft.
The monkey paw was activated.
Yes,
Jeff.
Exactly. Rather than just a straight remaster, they're going to be rewriting Splinter Cell.
That's weird. That's a really strange thing to do.
Yeah. They said they're going to be, quote, straddling the line between the spirit of the old and the comfort of the new so we can excite and surprise new players, but also make sure that when our returning players pick up the controller, they have that sigh of relief saying, they got it.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to say.
I think it's very... Sam Fisher.
Is Sam Fisher gonna dab? Is that what I'm worried about?
Sam Fisher works for Fourth Echelon, a super secret government espionage group that monitors people and goes to head off threats before anybody even hears about them by sending a Michael Ironside in a wetsuit with a gun to shoot everybody in the head. I can understand why they would want to rewrite this because I don't think that story is going to play quite as well right now. I mean, if you're getting...
Well, that's The Division, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah, sort of. Also, I believe the first Splinter Cell took place in Georgia, the country that got taken over by Russia. I
didn't even think about that, yeah.
I don't know. It seems like this may not be the appropriate time to make Splinter Cell happen again. All that Tom Clancy stuff is really weird because it was rooted in kind of the geopolitical politics of when it was developed.
Well, that happens with any political thriller whenever they're made.
Yeah,
because they're always based on the time frame they're made on. That's what makes GoldenEye so interesting.
Yeah,
was because it was right after the Cold War had ended.
Right.
And so they're like, well, how does a James Bond who's known for Cold War shit deal with non-Cold War shit?
Right.
So it's all based on what's going on in that time frame. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know.
Maybe they're just gonna fight North Koreans again or something. Because that's the thing. It's it's harder to figure out who the bad guy in movies and video games are now the de facto one.
Yeah.
Because every now and then somebody does something stupid politically, and then you're just like, well, should we make them the bad guy now? But then a year later, they're like, well, you psych or whatever, and then you're like, well, fuck.
Right. Or oh, we're really mad that you made us the bad guy in your video game. And it's well, I mean, come on, man.
It was easy to make Russians the bad guys and everything, but now it's well, I don't know. Now it's probably a bad idea.
Who could say? Who could say? I don't know. I just, at this point, I wonder whether Splinter Cell needs to come back. Whether you might not be better served, or if you need to do if it would be better to do a reboot, a Splinter Cell, the next generation, basically,
Yeah, either a reboot or a soft reboot would be the better idea.
Kathy Fisher, Sam Fisher's niece. That
it's Fisher Price
picked up the mantle of them, but now it's a new Fisher out there doing stuff.
Son of the Pink Panther. Let's just do this shit.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know how many Splinter Cell games does Michael Ironsides have left in him.
He's dead.
Wait, is he alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
He's alive.
I was like, he's definitely not dead. He still does Darkseid every now and then.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm very worried. I'm worried from top to bottom. I'm worried for the story. I'm worried for the voice casting. I'm worried for the gameplay. I'm worried for the potential open world. I'm worried for the shoehorned in multiplayer.
It's going to be a bad time.
I'm pretty much worried from top to bottom. So
unless it's the multiplayer from the third game, that was a great time. Like a co-op mode that they did. That shit was amazing.
Yeah. That was the one. It was like the Spies versus Mercs, right? That they had for a little while.
No, it was this thing where it's like it's a co-op mode where it's you're two spies, and then you do all these missions together. Mm-hmm. And I guess this is a spoiler for a game that came out a very, very long time ago. Is at the end of the missions, you're finally done. You're like, yeah, everything's great, and like the two characters are on like an airplane, and they both get sent a different message saying kill the other one, and so the final part is you have to kill your partner, and so the two co-op guys now have to kill the other.
Okay,
and so it becomes this. It's like the end of Double Dragon, basically.
All right,
except with the spy thriller.
Yeah, that's all right.
So they should do that shit again because that was really cool.
Well, speaking of stuff that's cool, I don't know that I would put Overwatch 2 on that list, but we got some Overwatch 2 news. We got a launch trailer for Overwatch 2. I think the most interesting part of this launch trailer is that there's a little bit of that character, the healer character.
Kuriko?
Yeah, that we talked about last week in what appears to be a Blizzard fucking story cutscene that I haven't seen yet. I was like, whoa, guys. Because do we know about... They're supposed to be PvE, right? Like,
yeah, there's supposed to be PvE eventually. I don't think it's coming out.
It's not going to launch with that.
With it, yeah.
So, yeah, we got a launch trailer, which is just a real Overwatch showing a bunch of, there's like a few new skins in there. They show some of the new heroes. It seems like they're going to launch with Junker Queen and the Kumiko or whatever her name is. But one of the most interesting things that came out was they talked about the new player experience for Overwatch 2.
So this is like a mixed bag, apparently.
Yeah. So apparently, if you don't have an Overwatch 1 save and you load up Overwatch 2, you're going to have to play somewhere around the 100 matches in order to unlock the base roster of characters.
Yeah, which is a lot of characters.
Yes. Now, at first, I think I looked at that and I was like, ooh, I don't like that. But then it was like, well, it is a lot of characters, and like we had the advantage of having a few added. Like the original roster was small enough that you kind of get to know all the characters.
Well, it was a Street Fighter 2 situation.
Right.
You start off with the main Street Fighter 2 guys, and then by the time you're done, you're at Super Turbo HD Remix fucking like Ultimate Edition or whatever, and they added like 15 other people.
It was like when we played the JoJo's fighting game, and I can only imagine what like a regular person would do when they saw the roster.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, well, I don't know. What the fuck? Like
that's why it's a mixed bag, because it's like I get the idea.
Yeah.
Because it's a new player experience, but you're fucked if you just don't have that save.
Right.
Well, not fucked, because it turns out you can spend $40 and then just be fine.
Yes.
Which is both bad, good and bad.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it, I guess. Because I was reading some of the comments on it, because from the outside, it seems like a terrible idea just reading like the headline.
Right.
Which is like, hey, if you've never played the game, fucking good luck. You got to get all 32 characters. But then it's like, well, no, what it is like, well, not just that, but you don't have access to like ranked, basically.
Right. You
for
have to
like
play 50
10 or 15 matches.
50. You have to play 50 casual matches to get to ranked matches.
I thought you had to like 110 or something. No, 150. Okay, yeah, sorry, that's all.
No, you have to win 50,
which is fucking crazy, by the way. Because if your team sucks, then you're just fucked. But and so this is going to be a long. That's the only thing that I find kind of annoying about it, is that it's going to be a long time for some of these people,
right,
to get through that. like it helps pad the game for new people, which is good. But and it helps the older guys to not have to worry about dealing with only new people on their teams. So it's like a 50-50 to me. Like I think that part of it sounds like a great idea, but then when it's like, by the way, if you just give us $40, you can just pass the whole thing.
Right.
That's where I'm like, well, what the fuck's the point of that point?
Yep.
Because then this turns out, no, you're actually just doing this for money.
Well, I mean, they're obviously doing this for money. Like,
well, it's a free-to-play game.
You know, one of the things I didn't realize was that the new character, she's on the battle pass, and you can either rank the battle pass up to level 50 or 55 to get her, or you can spend $10. And it's like, oh, so that's how it's going to be from here on out.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
and it's going to be I think it's a good and a bad idea, but it's. But I think it still comes down to like how will the gaming community react to it.
I think that one of the main problems with a lot of these is that Blizzard, not just Activision, but all the companies that are starting to do this, like, oh, we're going to make this game free to play, they make the grind too long. It's too big.
Yes.
Like, you should be able to play a reasonable amount of Overwatch 2 to unlock the lady on the battle pass. Like, you should be able to play 20 ranked matches. That's not too bad. You can knock that out in an afternoon, right? Like, 20 unranked matches.
Yeah. Well, each match is like, what, 20 minutes?
10 to 15, 10, 15, I believe. With the new one, they're a little shorter.
Yeah, it's like it's like 2 or 3 hours. Probably.
Yeah. Like, and you shouldn't have to win every one. You should just be like...
Well, that's the thing. Is you shouldn't have to win each one. That's the only thing that bothers me. At least for the unlocking the competitive mode.
The other thing is that apparently, even if you don't have everything unlocked, if you play with friends that do, you can choose between anybody that's in there. So,
that's interesting.
like, if you party up with your friends, they don't want you to be locked down. You know, they're just like, pick whoever you want.
Well, that's a good thing, because I was worried about that part.
Yeah,
especially because there are people I know out there who will just like they'll get rid of a console. And then they're like, well, all my friends are on consoles, so I'm going to go play on console again, but they don't have save anymore because they didn't keep their online thing to keep their save or something like that.
Sure.
So that could fuck them over. But if that's the case, then it might help out a lot more.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, also, I think it's also interesting is you can't buy the original Overwatch anymore.
Yeah,
right?
They're shutting it down. I think it's shut down now, actually.
I believe so. Well, no, I think the 2 doesn't launch until next Tuesday. So if they shut down now, you wouldn't be able to be playing Overwatch, and I don't feel like they would do that until...
I don't remember when they said they would, but they said it was going to happen.
I thought it was going to be later this month after 2 launches that they're going to shut one down.
I don't know. I don't remember. They gave a date. I just don't remember what date it was.
Another change that they're making, apparently, which I thought was kind of buried in amongst these stories, is... you're going to... I don't know if this is on... they say it's for Battle.net. So I don't know if it's going to be just on the PC or if it's going to be on consoles as well. You have to enter a phone number in order to play, in order to do voice comms,
so
basically.
Here's the thing. I found out you had to do that from the Modern Warfare 2 beta.
Yes.
Which I didn't know that about.
Yeah. And you can't use a generated phone number. Like it'll filter out.
It has to be like an actual thing.
Voice over IP numbers or like Google numbers or whatever.
If you're wondering how that works, guys, it's because every single number is part of a block, and that block usually is like, these are the blocks of numbers that we have on our system that are accepted because they are paid. Well, I forgot the name of it. They're burner phone numbers usually.
Right.
And then their VoIP ones aren't part of those blocks ever. Yeah. So where normal numbers are part of, like, AT&T has like a series of blocks. So like, here's our actual like full blown customer blocks. And if you have a subscription, or not subscription, but I guess it's subscription. I'm not really sure what it's called. A contract with us, you'll be part of this block. And so that gets reported, and then that's how they figure that shit out.
Yep.
If you're wondering how that works, because I used to have to deal with that stuff.
I kind of looked at this and I was like, oh, what a pain in the ass. But after thinking about it, I'm like, this is what we've come to, basically. Like,
well, this was the other thing I was talking about, how like when we were talking about the internet fucking up so much that we had to come to something that will annoy other people.
Right.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
The number thing is that finally coming to a head.
And it can only be like attached to one account. You can't move it between accounts. Like,
Yeah, you can't just keep using your number on a different accounts.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, this is just the beginning of, because if Modern Warfare 2 is doing it, well, actually, these are both Activision games for the most part.
Yeah.
But if these are two big games and they get enough people to go along with it, then what's going to stop all the others from doing it?
Nothing. And I personally like I think they should. Like I think that at this point the problem is that it's this dumb arms race that they're doing where it's like, oh, you know, we're going to ban you and then you're going to go get a VPN to get a different IP so that you can come back online, and then we're going to do ban by your username. You're going to create a new free username and like get another copy or blah 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 blah. And it, like, I think that I don't have a problem with companies that are like, we do not want shitbags, cheaters, and garbage playing our game. And so if you are garbage or a shitbag or a cheater, we want the ability to be able to ban you and for you not to be able to come back. Like,
yeah, the thing is, like, I get all the understandings. The only issue I have with it, and it's a small issue because this is just it's a main reason why I'm hoping this is only like mostly a PC thing, is that not everyone has a phone number. There's a lot of people who don't have phones.
Sure.
Especially people who are of the younger age.
Don't want
who
them.
you want to make money off of.
Don't want to play with them.
You don't want to play with them, but that's what I'm saying is that, like, it's gonna hold back consumers a lot more than, or not a lot more, but it could. I'm gonna say could.
Sure.
Because because the things have changed since I was a kid and you were a kid.
Yeah.
Basically, like, I was one of the few people in my age group who had a phone number when I was in 8th grade, and then a lot of people I know didn't have like a cell phone until they're 18 or 19 kind of thing.
Sure.
So this could like accidentally offset some of that stuff, which could be good or bad depending.
Yep.
So that's the interesting thing I think from it.
I refer back to the opening story with 17-year-old hacker and green bananas. I don't want to play with green bananas. I want to play with like old yellow bananas with a bunch of black spots on them. So
it's fair. We're all banana bread at this point.
Hey man, you know what? Like, I'll go one step further. I think everybody should. Okay, you guys want to play video games? You got a cell phone? You do whatever. I would love to have the option for online multiplayer games to be like, there should be a fucking like a garbage tier, like a here's a bunch of fucking, you know, weekend dads and like people that don't take this shit seriously.
I've heard that for years.
Mouthy podcasters.
Yeah, like there should be an option where it's like, hey, I work 40-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Please don't shoot
I just
me.
want to play a little Overwatch. I don't want to play against a pro or a Twitch streamer or somebody who's been playing this every fucking day for years. I want to play with Randy and Brian Salisbury. Like, that's
exactly.
I don't, you know, like that's the reason I would love to play fighting games online, but it's like, but I don't want to play against like people that are warming up for Evo.
Yeah, that's I know we brought it up before where it's like we're both like good at fighting games, but we're better than everyone we know.
Right.
We're not better than the online.
Yes. We're stuck in the worst. Same with, I think, online shooters. Like, I can hold my own. I've got a kill or two in a battle royale game.
Yeah.
But it's not fun to just get stomped over and over again. And I swear to God, nobody is talking about the years ago on the podcast, I said I looked up a guide on how to get good at Call of Duty, and like the first line was like, you will be bad at Call of Duty for like a year and a half, and you're just gonna have a bad time, and you're gonna suck at it, and you're gonna die over and over again, and it's gonna be really frustrating. But after about a year and a half, you're gonna start to get better. And I'm like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, I am not interested in that.
This is for a teenager who has only all the time in the world.
Yeah.
I have other shit to do.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. The other thing is that they announced that they're this I think is the thing we saw with Valorant, where basically like your voice comms are going to be recorded so that if somebody makes a complaint against you, it can be voice recorded into a transcript that is then evaluated by an AI to see whether or not you should be banned for saying filthy shit or being a piece of shit.
Just here, you call them a filthy muggle.
At this point, as I've said before, I think I said this when the Valorant thing came up, I don't care because the voice comms on Overwatch are not like free speech concerns to me. Those servers are purchased and run by Activision Blizzard. They are not the town square. You are not being muzzled or silenced because you can't call somebody a filthy Romanian, or I don't know, like I'm trying to think of something that would be over the line, but not so far over the line that the people would be like, Jeff, you son of a bitch, you know,
enough to that YouTube won't go after us,
right?
But yes, no, that's the thing. It's like, well, because it's like if you're gonna say some fucked up shit to your friends, you're gonna be in a party anyways.
Yeah,
you can use Discord or something. Yep. Like, if you want to like tell random strangers on the internet that they suck because they're not on the payload, but not in those words,
right?
Then honestly, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, learn a little decorum, you green banana. That's what they're gonna get me for, is all this green banana talk. Let's see.
Racist that gets green bananas.
Well, speaking of online fighting games and progression, it's going to get a little harder to level up in MultiVersus.
Yeah.
Michael told me about this story last week, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. They did the same thing they did with Avengers, where they were like, our players are getting too confused when they level up super fast, even though it's not like leveling up unlocks new moves or anything, right? Like in MultiVersus, you have all the moves.
No, it doesn't. It unlocks like your what are the perks.
Yeah.
It unlocks your perks, which, you know, it's not really, you're not going to get overwhelmed by the perks. You just read it real quick and then you're done.
Right. This is some obvious fucking people are prestiging too hard, too fast bullshit.
Because to get not max level, but to get everything that the game is willing to give you at the moment, you have to get to level 15.
Yeah.
The issue is that, like, just give people stuff after level 15, and that's kind of the issue, is that they're, instead of giving them more to do after reaching level 15, they're just like, well, now it's harder to get to 15.
We're slowing people down to get to 15.
Yeah, because it's just strange. Like, it's the same thing with Avengers. It's like, give us more to do, not less, or not the same
not make
thing.
It slower.
Yeah, it's pointless. It makes people not want to do newer characters because they already have level 15 Steven universe or whatever.
Right.
So why would they want to use Rick now? It's going to take them twice as long now.
Yeah.
To get him even to level 5.
Well, Michael, it's not about fun. It's about money.
That's the thing, is there's no money you can spend to make them level up faster. Is the crazy thing. Like,
True.
It's just like if there was like an option to buy the XP booster packs or whatever, I could maybe see that being a money decision. This is more just like, we're trying to slow you down because we're still in beta.
Right.
And
or they're still trying to like crank out characters, and people are hitting the upper tier and then getting bored and then leaving before we can crank out Rick or Stripe or whatever.
Like,
you know,
it's like, it just comes down to the fact that, hey, you guys should really stop releasing games that much earlier if you feel like you're running into issues like this, because when you change them after the fact, people are going to notice. And it was in the patch notes, so of course they noticed.
You know what I think they should do is, I think if they're going to do this, they should just make that adjustment and don't justify it. Like, it's more patronizing for you to put out this statement about how just like people got, little baby's brains got all googly eyed. We can't have that happening. We got to slow you guys down. You guys are going too fast. Everybody's getting confused. It's like, just fucking do it. And don't explain yourself. And if somebody asks, just be like, ... go away.
Like if somebody asks, like, hey, this is a beta, we make changes all the time.
Yes.
That's all you have to say.
Yes.
And it's not condescending.
Yes.
And it's just the company has to answer. And everyone's like, well, that sucks, but I get it.
Yeah, this shit has happened before. You didn't have to justify it. You didn't have to show your work. Like,
that's when you show, because when you tell us it's because we're too good, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Also, nobody believes you, and everybody sees right through it.
Exactly.
So.
We all think you're stupid.
Let's see. In other multiverse news, we got this is kind of an interesting story, talking about I kind of messed up what the story was when I first read it. I read it and I thought that the headline was saying, like, none of these new Marvel games are going to tie into the movie universe, and that should be a no-brainer. But there was an interview where they said none of the new Marvel games that are coming out, the Captain America and Black Panther, the Iron Man game that was announced from EA, some of the other stuff that's on the horizon, none of it's going to tie into each other. They're all going to be siloed off into their own universes, which is... I get it. I mean, that makes it would be hell development to try to hook together EA's project and fucking Ubisoft's project.
It's a great idea because that was something that people were trying to figure out when Avengers came out after Spider-Man PS4,
right?
And when Guardians came out after Avengers came out,
sure.
Are these all the same thing? Because there's an Avengers building in Spider-Man,
right?
And then so it's well, is this part of the same thing? And then eventually somebody finally was stop asking us. This is they're not the same fucking universe. Just fucking leave it alone.
Yeah.
And so I'm fine with that because I don't need everything to connect all the time.
Yeah. It would be really interesting though to see the equivalent of a multi-studio years-long partnership where you had different genres of games that all then led to a big... it'd be interesting to see if there was that Avengers game, right? If there had been a good Captain America game, a good Iron Man game, a good Hawkeye game, and they were all different genres, right? Make the Hawkeye one a first-person shooter and make the Iron Man one a management sim or some bullshit. And then because you could then get to know each one of those versions of the characters.
No, yeah, that's absolutely
exactly the same way that the MCU did, where then when they come together into the big thing at the end, you're like, oh, I love Ms. Marvel. I love that Ms. Marvel game. I want to see more Ms. Marvel. And then boom. But I do get that it would be, especially when you're dealing with multiple companies, it would be too difficult, too hard.
It would be damn near impossible because for all you know, one of those studios could go bankrupt in the middle. And you're that guy was the one who was the important one because now it doesn't make sense for Hulk to be hey, I know you.
Yeah.
Because that game never came out. That's a huge fucking risk. More than a movie does.
You also have the problem of, when they try to make a lot of these licensed things and there's a continuity and they're just there's a corporation standing over your shoulder going wait, you can't cut off Captain America's legs. No, you can't do that.
You can't put this specific enemy in it because he's being used over here.
You can't make...
And I know you made a whole 3D model for that guy.
Yep.
But you got to scrap that week of work.
Yep.
It's well, no, we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, so... But on the other hand, it would be really cool if they could do something like that.
It would, God, but it would be so fucking hard because game development changes so fast in the middle, more than a movie does, and it's a lot harder to change in the middle too.
You'd have to get 5 or 6 different game companies that don't like each other in a room ready to do a thing with a clear. Here's what this game's going to be. Here's what this game's going to be. Here's what the Anyway.
It's a tricky situation.
Well, speaking of the big screen, we got the first full official teaser for The Last of Us. Michael, are you very excited for The Last of Us?
I think it looks great.
Yep.
But I don't really know if I'm excited or not because if it turns out to be a straightforward adaptation, I'm just gonna be I'm just gonna play the game if that's the case.
Right.
But it looks like it has a lot going for it because it feels like The Last of Us when I look at it.
Okay.
Compared to when I will look at say the Super Mario Brothers movie compared to Super Mario Brothers. When I watch this, I'm oh yeah, this is The Last of Us. So it could be good. So yeah,
from everything that I'm seeing in this trailer and how close there's some shots in here, when they're driving through the downtown that's exploding from the very beginning of The Last of Us.
Yeah,
it looks exactly like it does in the video game. I'm wondering whether this is going to be a Sin City situation where I went to go see the Robert Rodriguez Sin City movie and I was yes, that was Sin City, and I've already read those comics a bunch of times, so. You filmed Sin City. You filmed
Sim City. It would be an interesting one.
You used the comic book as a storyboard, and I was frankly bored the entire time because I know this story front to finish and every single thing that happens, and it's exactly what happens in the comic book. So
from what I remember them saying though, there should be stuff in between that isn't exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it should be more like the first season of The Walking Dead than the later seasons, if that makes sense.
Boy, howdy, am I also pretty Last of Us out between
I'm completely
2
Last of Us out, to be
remake
honest.
and
but I like Pedro
stuff.
Pascal a lot, so I'm just going to watch it for him at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll maybe see how it goes. I'm more excited for. Oh, I had the wrong transition there. In other news,
Speaking of the Super Mario Brothers,
yes, speaking of Super Mario Brothers movie, we're going to be getting the first trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie next month, and the release date has been set for April of next year, which I believe originally was supposed to come out like this year, right?
it was supposed to come out this
holiday
year.
2022.
It got delayed.
Yep. Everybody keeps taking away my Christmas presents, man, just one after the other. I was psyched to go see Chris Pratt be Super Mario. Everybody's mean about it. I want to see it, man.
They're really mean about it, but there's for a really good reason, though, because I just think it's really funny. Because no one saw it coming.
Yep.
Like, I will never forget Dan Reichert just losing his goddamn mind the second it's like Chris Pratt is Mario.
Yeah.
And then him consistently losing his mind as they announce everybody else.
Yeah. Yep.
The Seth Rogen Donkey Kong one is the one I'm the most interested in because people like not Photoshop, but they like edited in his voice on like Donkey Kong clips, and I'm like, you know what, this actually works really well.
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, I don't like, I as everybody knows, I don't care whether it's authentic or not authentic. I care whether it's good.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a good, fun movie, that's all I care about.
We all thought the Lego Movie was an insane idea.
Yes,
and it also had Chris Pratt.
That's true.
And it turned out great.
Yep.
Even the second one's pretty good.
Yeah, I like the second one. We also got a very small glimpse at the Nier Automata anime. We got some really brief clips of 2A and 5S, or 2S and 5A, or 5B
I don't know
and
the names.
612 or 2025. We found out that it's coming out next year, January of next year. But we got a very, very brief teaser of the main characters. And there was actually an interview with Yoko Taro and the director of animation, who's got a pretty good track record. Nothing that I'm super big into, but if Yoko Taro is writing it, it's probably going to be insane AF. I think this is actually a really good move because playing Nier Automata is a bit of a chore.
Oh, 100%. It's got different endings. You got to do specific things to get those endings.
Yeah. So
I still remember. Was it this game that you had the checklist on? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
no, that was last year. That was the remake of the first Nier.
That's right.
Yeah, the version 1.654782.
If you guys don't remember, because he has mentioned it before, was that he had an entire spreadsheet.
Yep.
That had what you had to do.
Yep.
And he had X's. He had like green check marks or something.
I
to
had,
let you know what it was.
I would turn them from green to red, red to
right.
green when I did them. Yep. I did everything in that game except for the one quest that requires you to have 3 days in real time to grow the right flower. And I was like, what am I going to get if I get this? And it was like an achievement. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not, because I spent 3 days trying to, you have to crossbreed this very specific flower.
Okay.
And it has to be 3 real-time days. You can't skip with the clock anymore. You can't do any of that stuff. And it was like, I'd been playing this game for like a week straight. And I was like, I'm done. The flowers can eat shit.
Yeah, at that point, fuck that shit.
The most interesting thing about this is that this is called version 1.1a because they are changing the story of Nier Automata.
Well, that would make sense because animes tend to do that a lot.
Yep.
Even if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Because I hated the Gungrave anime, for instance, because it changed too much for me to like it.
Yoko Taro's attitude in this interview was basically like Nier Automata was made to be a game, and it had specific things that worked because it was a game. But this is not a game. This is a thing you're going to sit on your couch and watch, not sit on your couch and play. So they're going to switch it around, and I think that's great. I think that's great.
It's a great thing to say too, because that's the thing when people are like, "You should make this into to X and Y, like a movie or a comic or something." It's like, well, no, this only works because it's a game,
right?
Like the entire Psycho Mantis reveal about how he reads your memory card and how you beat him in the first one, and even the way part 4 happens when they're like, just change the controller. And like, well, I can't because it's not a thing anymore. None of that shit could work on literally anything else.
Yep. Also, there's a lot. I mean, like, Nier Automata opens up like the ability to save like happens, or there's a part in Nier Automata where this lady gives you a fish and she's just like, here's a fish. You can go sell this fish. Don't eat this fish. You're a robot. You'll die if you eat the fish. And so I ate the fish, and it was like game over. Like you fucking died. Game over. You got ending F for fish. And I was like, Okay.
That's amazing. I actually really love that. I had no idea that was the thing.
That game is fucking bonkers. It's so crazy. I really do like it. It's just it takes a lot. You got to really kind of commit to messing with it. So, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. We're about 10 minutes over time. So we come back. We've got a few stories left, and then we've got a bunch of trailers. And who knows? Who knows what'll happen after that? Nobody sends in questions anymore. Nobody even pretends, Michael. So
Well, they don't really need to at this
it's
point.
been like 3 years since I've answered what question on the shows.
I think it hasn't been that long.
I think we answered one like 8 months ago or something like that. Anyway,
and it was from like a year prior to that.
who knows? And before we left, Michael, we were talking about anime. We were talking about Nier anime. It turns out anime is really good for game sales, or at least it is in for Cyberpunk 2077, which apparently is just like fucking blowing up and going bananas on Steam.
Oh my god, I did not expect it to go as high as it did.
Yep. So what was the thing? Last week they had September 19th, which was, I think, right before the anime came out. No, it was a little bit after. They were up to 78,000 concurrent players on Steam. And then as of September 25th, it was 136,724, beating their previous record with The Witcher 3 of 103,000 by, 33,000.
It was kind of surprising. Because there's a lot of people that are just like, man, they play it or they watch it and they're like, what if I want to try, I want more of this world, so I'm going to play the game now.
Yep.
And so that keeps happening. There's even a Penny Arcade comic on it because I guess one of them did the same thing. It's like that's part of why I haven't watched it yet, because I'm like, I don't want the urge to play a game that I wasn't super into to begin with.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of it's funny because a lot of the news stories that I read that talked about this big surge, they were just like, yeah, and then they totally fixed everything in the game, and I keep going, that's not true just
not
yet.
True at all.
I
keep seeing people. Well, that's my favorite part is that because I first saw this on Reddit, like this specific story. And half the comments were like, it's great, it's fixed, everything's fantastic. And then directly after that, it's like, it's still super fucking broken. So like half the internet still thinks it's fixed enough. The other half is like, no, this is still like really bad.
Yeah.
We should still wait. So I don't really know who to trust at this point.
I honestly think that, like, again, I talked about this, I think I talked about it last week, where like the last patch, or maybe I was talking about it to you before in between segments, but the last patch they did that added that Edge Runners content literally added cosmetic macros, so you could like customize what your character looks like without, if you have to change your shirt, you can have a dumb shirt, but your character still looks cool because you've got your like ninja loadout that you like put on your character to make it look like a cyber ninja. And that shit came out 2 years after that game launched. That is a core feature, especially given the gaudy, horrible clothes of Night City. Like,
you look really stupid.
Do you want to be running around in a neon green mesh top and like a pink leopard thong with like thigh-high gold boots because they would give you +5 to cyber claws or whatever? Like, that was up until like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. That is a core thing that should have been in that game from the beginning. So, and I think that the main difference in thinking about it, every time this comes up, I think the main difference for me is that when I play Cyberpunk 2077, I'm only going to play it once. I'm only ever going to play that game probably one time because it's going to be long, and I don't usually replay long games that often, like big RPGs.
It's very rare. I know a lot of people who are like, I've replayed all the Mass Effects. So I'm like, I went through all 3 once.
Yep.
I'm never going to do that again.
Yep.
Because that would take way too much time.
And it's mostly just because of my gaming preference. I'm a gaming omnivore. I want to play a whole bunch of different games. Like, I want to play Slime Rancher. I want to play Moonscars. I want to play, all the dumb horse shit that comes out. I want to play Diofield Chronicle. I want to try everything. So it's not like I have like this one game that I'm like, that game was really good. I want to go back and play that. I used to do that with 12-hour games, but like when you start getting into the 40 to 60 hours, that's like a long time to go back and replay one game. That
even Metal Gear Solid 4, which was one of the longest games at the time, feels short compared to a lot of the stuff now.
Yep. So, I mean, I know people go back and play The Witcher 3 all the time, but I don't do that. And I think it's mostly because there's so many new games, I want to try them all. So I only have a limited amount of time.
Like, I still replay games, but a lot of times they tend to be the shorter ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Also in Cyberpunk news, apparently, in a grand surprise to no one, there's a bunch of mods, a bunch of people in the mod community have put out a whole bunch of Edgerunners mods for Cyberpunk.
I'm shocked, Jeff.
Yeah,
shocked.
Yeah, I know.
Who could have suspected such a thing?
What's interesting is they have Lucy, which is kind of like the main female protagonist, her face. I did think that the David Martinez hairstyle, who's the main character, is funny because it's like somebody just took the up swoop and then like took an eraser and drew like lightning bolts in it. Like, it doesn't seem to have like much hair underneath it. It's literally just like very hard edged lightning bolts in the side of his head.
It doesn't even look all that like edited, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It also looks like Justin Bieber there for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's the one without the face. Yeah. So they also have a face mod. The one I think is actually kind of more interesting is that they did a radio station that has like a lot of the tunes from the soundtrack, which is pretty cool, including that the Franz Ferdinand like theme song that they used for it. And there was also, this particular article had somebody who did a build that was because the character, the main character in the show gets this mod called the Sandevistan, which is in the game, which slows down time. Yeah. And it's basically a person making a build that like maximizes the amount of time that time is slowed down, minimizes the cooldown between when you can use your cyber powers and how much energy you have, and like ups punching people. And so at the end of the day, the mod just ends up like, and then whenever I get in trouble, all I do is basically just like go into slow motion and run up and punch everybody really fucking hard. And it looks, and actually the person in this YouTube video, they talked about how like doing this is so broken that you probably want to put the game on hard, because otherwise it'll just be a cakewalk.
Maybe I should do that, because that sounds fun.
Well, it's like creating the what was our guy in Fallout that Brian and I created? Oh boy, it's been so long. I can't remember
his name either.
It's like making a punch build for Fallout, right?
Well, yeah, it's your star platinum. Your time is nothing, and you can auto your way through the game.
Yeah,
I kind of love that idea.
Let's see if I can figure out. Space something. Ooh boy, what was it?
I don't remember his name. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember his name anymore.
Oh man, I don't know if I put it in the description. Yeah. I was like, God damn it, I can't remember anymore.
Yeah. Comments will remind us what his name was.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so yeah, I think that if you're interested in Cyberpunk, you should still wait. I think that I think they're going to make more quality of life upgrades by the time the DLC comes out next year, and I think that will be the time to look at it. And if you can hold off even further, I think that mod tool is going to be used as time goes on to add and fix the game.
Yeah,
it's New Vegas, right? It's New Vegas. Like, it launched buggy as shit. They fixed a little bit of it. They're going to put some new content in it. They're going to go hands off, and the community's going to pick it up, and they're going to keep running with it.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. This game has so much potential.
Yeah,
and the anime has proven that to the general audience, that this has a lot of potential still.
Yep. Let's see. In other modding news, Metal Hellsinger added a modding tool this week that allows you to basically you can download this tool specifically from their website and then put different music in the game. Ooh. And then it'll literally beat match it to the shots. So they literally put out a video that was you can't hear it because this is a podcast, but it was like Metal Hellsinger, but the music was all jazz. And I really, Michael, I don't know if I'll do this. It just depends on whether I have free time, which I don't. But Amanda and I made a joke when we were playing Metal Hellsinger that like, this would be a lot better if I had some Paul Abdul in here instead of the raging death metal, and I kind of want to now figure out if I can get some Paul Abdul into here with this mod.
You should do that. You should. I saw that people did it with ska apparently already.
Oh, that'd be great.
That was in the headline there.
Well, a lot of it for me was the fact that like all of the attacks happen on the beat, and one, apparently I had miscalibrated the entire game.
Oh, jeez.
And then two, I don't know any of these metal songs, and I don't like tap my foot along with music, so it was hard for me to get into the rhythm. And three, I was also fucking talking the entire time. So
well, that's the thing about that game when they announced it. I'm like, I'm fucking terrible at that.
Yeah.
Like when I remember when they were choosing what people could do in band, they had like you do a series of things to figure out what you most likely would be good at doing.
Uh-huh.
And I got the trombone because my brother did it as well prior to that, which I thought was funny.
Okay.
But one of them was like doing the drums, which is like they gave you these two pencils and they're like, do this with like a beat. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was fucking terrible. I couldn't do it to save my life. And so I realized that as I would listen to stuff further on because I wasn't super musically inclined, that I'm like I was trying to do the thing where you move your foot along with it,
yeah,
but I was always fucking it up,
yeah,
every fucking time.
Yep.
I even did when I went to that Blues Brothers concert. When people were doing the clap, my clap was way the fuck off, and I had to stop and then like go with everybody again because I kept fucking it up.
I got a fair amount of rhythm. I need a song that I already know, that's already like in my head, as opposed to hearing a metal song for the first time, trying to play an FPS, trying to talk into a microphone, and trying to hit along with the beat on a miscalibrated TV. It was kind of just all bad. It was all bad.
Yeah, that sounds just like a nightmare.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll get another Metal Hellsinger video with just put Paul Abdul's face on the. It'll be like the Should You Buy YouTube channel, except it's going to be the Paul Abdul's face on Metal Hellsinger.
Abdul.
Yep, Paul Abdul.
It's going to have the cat. What was the name of that cat?
MC Scat Cat.
Yeah, MC Scat Cat. You got to put that song in there.
Yep. Opposites attract. Let's see. In other mod news, the headline for this story would make you think that this is some corporate bullshit, but I actually think that after reading this whole story, I might side with Atlas.
The thing is, I get what they're saying.
Yes.
I get why they did what they did.
So Atlas there was an MMO that was a Shin Megami Tensei MMO, Shin Megami Tensei Imagine Online, that got shut down a little while back. As is the case with a lot of these things, there's a fan server up that people could go back and play on if they want to continue playing the game. Well, Atlas has taken the people that put the server up to court. But the thing is that it kind of makes a little bit of sense because they they made a copy of the website for the original game, and I don't know if this is the main complaint, but one of the things that they did was at the bottom of the website where it's got the copyright information, it says copyright Atlas, Sega, Cave, and then like the name of the modder guy, like with the copyright symbol next to it. And I mean, I have to point this out every so often. You know that copyright is a thing where if you don't defend your copyright in court, it can become weaker to the point where people can infringe upon it if you are not adamant about taking people to court for fucking with your copyright. And it seems like, I can't say for sure, but it seems like this might be the main crux of the fact that you just put your name in the copyright for this game that you didn't make. I mean, you're running a server for it, but like,
the issue is that the entire site is a copy.
That's true as well.
If they made a site themselves that was just hey, this is us, this is their server, like come join us or something.
Yeah,
they probably wouldn't have said shit.
Yeah,
like if it had 0 images kind of thing. And was just like, hey, welcome kind of thing. This is literally the site with one, like, but you've got, like you said, the guy put his fucking name under the copyright.
Yeah.
Like, that was a terrible idea, dude, from the get-go.
Yep. I can't say for sure, but it seems like that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, the issue is that the implication of what happens is afterwards.
Yeah.
Because from here on, depending on how it's worded in the judgment, it could be used against other fan servers.
Fan servers, yeah.
But I don't. It all depends on how power hungry the other ones are. Because I can see Activision going whole hog on WoW fan servers based on just this judgment.
Sure.
I would be surprised.
I thought that Activision had already gone a whole hog on some WoW fan servers.
They did on a couple, but I don't remember why. But I feel like some of them survived it.
I think that was the first time I ran into this, where it was like, no, we have to, because like that's our copyright, and you can't just be.
It was when they were doing the re-release of 3, I think.
Warcraft 3?
Yeah, because they did that re-release they did not that long ago.
Yeah, the Reforged.
I think they went after a lot of those people during that time frame.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Who could say in the list of bad decisions what
they make a lot of bad decisions
over the years. So
if I remember correctly, that was the reason for it.
Yep.
But it's been a while.
Let's see. In other maybe sad news, perhaps Skull and Bones has been delayed.
God damn. I still think this game is a scam.
Yep.
I know they showed footage.
Yep.
But that shit could have just been something somebody made to be like, we swear the game exists. But at this point, I don't think this thing exists every time.
Yep. So Skull and Bones has been delayed to March of next year.
Christ.
I almost think at this point, Michael, that it would be less embarrassing if they just put out the game and it was broken. Like,
oh no, absolutely.
If they just put out if they just said, well, we're still launching this year, but it's going to be like an open beta. It's going to be like MultiVersus, right?
They could have done, what Grounded did, because where they're like, hey, this is the early access version.
Yep.
We'll add more pirates and shit, and then we'll add like a spider filter or whatever the fuck you people want from us.
Yep.
And you can make fun of us for a bit, but hey, it's early access. Like.
A game that has been infamous for being delayed every year since it was announced, and now they were like, but it's coming out this year, but it's not coming out this year.
Swear the dragons are coming, he said.
Oh, man.
Jesus. All they had to do was make Assassin's Creed 4 without the assassins parts, only the pirates parts, and everyone would have been happy.
Sure.
And then you spent 10 years, something like that.
It's 2017, I believe, was when it was originally announced.
Okay, so that's 5 years. Quite a long time.
Yeah,
more than you.
It was probably in pre-production for a year or two before that, though. So,
and then I'm gonna round and go to 10 because these people were stupid. Because all I know, they're gonna make it to 10 years.
Well, the thing. What's funny about this whole saga is it makes for fun, like complaining about on the podcast and laughing at Ubisoft and saying bad things about them, because I like all that. But the funniest,
it's fun to dogpile on them.
Funniest thing about this is just like nobody cares anymore.
That's the thing.
Like, even if it comes out and it does everything it says, I just don't think anybody gives a shit.
I haven't seen anyone, whenever they announce anything about it, I've seen no one on the internet be like, oh my God, Skull and Bones is finally coming out.
Right.
Doesn't look great.
Yeah.
All I've heard is, hey, this is still a thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Avengers, but like worse than that.
I think a lot worse than that, because with Avengers, people were still interested in Avengers.
Yeah.
And I think it's worse than Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because if Street Fighter Cross Tekken randomly came back all of a sudden, the internet would lose its shit. Because Tekken Cross Street Fighter, not Street Fighter Cross Tekken. If Tekken Cross Street Fighter randomly showed up at like Evo next year or something, everyone would lose their shit.
Yeah.
Because that's something everybody would care about. No one gives a fuck. We forgot the name of the thing
for a long time.
Consistently.
Yep.
Every time the news story comes up.
Yep.
Every fucking time.
Yep.
I almost kept calling it fucking Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Because Sea of Thieves came out a while back.
Yep. I can't also the beginning of next year has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Like everything that got pushed back to February, you're gonna put this out like after everybody's already fucking dicking around with everything that comes out in February of next year. Like
I would have had more respect for it if it did a Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah.
Which was like go against God of War. Because then the balls on them were going to be huge.
That game. That game. I don't know. Did I see I think I might have saw a preview where somebody was like, actually, it's really good. Or maybe I had a dream that I saw.
For what?
For Sonic Frontiers.
No, I saw a YouTube thumbnail that said, "Hey, I played Sonic Frontiers and it's fucking terrible."
Oh, okay. Maybe I had a dream. Maybe it was just a dream that I had.
Like the guy didn't. It wasn't even clickbait. He was like, "This game is fucking terrible."
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Yeah,
that's saying something, guys.
Doesn't look good. Let's see. Take-Two has dropped People Can Fly's next game. Called Project Dagger, that was several years into development, and they have decided that they're not going to be publishing it. There's a few interesting snippets here. One, People Can Fly are going to be self-publishing it. Two, Take-Two did not exercise their ability to buy the IP rights to it, which was on the table. And three, apparently People Can Fly are going to owe Take-Two a bunch of fronted development money that they gave them for this project that they're now going to have to pay back.
It's a really bad scenario.
Yes. Now, the upside of this is that People Can Fly are working on like other projects at the same time, so they have funding from a lot of different like perspectives or different areas, and they're not canceling the project. It's just not going to be published by Take-Two. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise. I've been surprised that People Can Fly have hung on it this long.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I was about to say I'm surprised they're still around after this specific news story came out.
Yes,
because that would have been like, and then we just decided to shut down because we don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean they got, you know, they made the Gears of War Judgment. I get the impression they made Outriders for Square Enix, and given everything we know about Square Enix, I get the impression that somebody at Square Enix was like, make us this kind of game, and they did the best they could. And I don't even think Outriders is a bad game. It just kind of was okay.
It felt like they didn't really have their love into it, if that makes sense. It felt more like, hey, we had to make this, and when we did what we could, like you said. But it's not like Bulletstorm. You feel the love in that game.
Yes,
that game not so much.
Yes. Also, I believe that they got shafted on the royalties for Outriders.
Oh,
really? I keep reading news stories that was like, we never really got paid for Outriders because it didn't like sell hard enough.
That was one of those. I hate that.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're not quite gone yet, and they still have some. They still have some time. They still have some cash. I just hope that they do something that they really want to do.
Yeah. I want a game from People Can Fly again.
Yeah.
That made me feel the way I did when I played Bulletstorm the first time.
Yes.
Which was like, this game is amazing. It's insane and just like lovingly great.
Yeah. It seems like I had a lot of passion behind it, and then they got put into Guns for Hire. And that's gotta suck to be a studio just doing.
Like, hey, we'll re-release Bulletstorm, but you gotta put Duke Nukem in it. And they were like, I guess
that shit.
And I played it. I played a lot, actually.
Weirdo. Let's see. In other gaming studio news, Netflix is opening an original game studio. They're not.
Was that not something they had already done?
Nope. They have purchased studios.
Okay. That's what I was thinking of last time. Then.
Yeah, but they're actually opening a brand new studio to basically make games.
So did they cancel the studio yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
One season, then they're like, I guess it's not working.
I don't know. They're putting it in Finland, so I assume they're getting some kind of like tax break or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting place to put that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they make stuff that is directly related to Netflix content, or whether they make just games under the Netflix banner. Because I feel like the games that they've made under the Netflix or based on Netflix content haven't sold especially well.
They're all a lot of cheap knockoffs of things.
Yeah. Yep.
Only one of them that we played was like, hey, this is a good, not so much a knockoff as it was like a version of that game. It was the Peaky Blinders one.
Yeah, it was kind of like Desperados.
Yeah, like we thought that was a pretty good attempt at one.
Yeah,
but then we played that fucking Karate Kid one.
Oh, Cobra Kai one.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is fucking
dude,
awful.
Man, I think Amanda was on. They're making another one of those Cobra Kai games.
Are you serious?
And it looks so much worse than the one that we played.
God.
It makes the one that we play look positively wonderful.
Fuck me.
But yeah, but then the studios that they've bought, that they put games out from, you know, they've got like the new Oxenfree game. There's a few other ones out there. So it'll be interesting to see where this leads to, whether it's original stuff or whether it's more tie-in.
Well, they might do that other thing they were thinking of doing, which was trying to make more like game-like things in Netflix itself.
Oh, right.
Remember that sort of something? Because I forgot this even happened. It was it was almost like a choose your own adventure, but with like a cartoon that they did. Did you hear about this?
I remember.
I saw the trailer for it.
I remember they did Bandersnatch. Right.
Bandersnatch was the first time I saw it, but this one came out last year or something like this. It was about like a cartoon cat who was like a security guard or something.
Okay.
And you had to make choices of like him trying to catch like a thief or something.
Okay.
There's a whole trailer for it, and it was all 2D animation. It looked like a Looney Tunes type thing, which is why I thought. I
remember that.
I watched the trailer for it originally. I thought it was just going to be a normal cartoon.
Yeah, I remember
like,
that.
No, this is like a choose your own adventure game in your Netflix browser, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. I never tried it though. I don't even know if it was good or not.
Me neither. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what happens. Let's see. From there, I don't know if you realize this, Michael, but every time we go to a Polygon page in my news story, there's a giant ugly ass banner at the top for a thing called Blanco's Block Party.
I kept seeing that. I was trying to figure out what the fuck it was.
Where it's like Funko Pops meets Fall Guys, basically, like meets Playroom, where it's like get your Blanco and then go play with your friends, and they're like these little characters that have different like kind of. They look like they're just Funko Pops. They're just Funko Pops
for the most
basically.
part. Yeah, they have longer arms than a Funko, but they're mostly Funko.
This launched on Epic this week. And guess what? It's those Blancos are NFTs, baby.
Are you serious?
Yep. They're NFTs, and so are all of the hats and accessories and various things that you can put on you guys.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. Gross.
Oh, God.
In fact, I even looked at their store, and it's just like, it seems really like...
Oh, God, they roped Godzilla into this thing?
Yeah, it's a $15 Godzilla NFT.
Don't let Matt know that's
Here's
a
a
thing.
$5 truck shoes. Here's a beanie for $6. The thing is that okay, well there's two things, and we're not going to stay on this very long because I've already repeated myself a million times in this subject, right? One, nothing that you see here couldn't be done without blockchain.
Yeah.
Is none of this buying various characters and putting clothes on them could totally be done without blockchain. Two, goddamn, are these things expensive?
Yeah.
For these ugly ass Funko Pops, like, you know,
for a game that's probably not all that interesting to begin with.
Yeah, like what if every Fall Guy cost $20 and you had to have one to play the game? It's bleh, gross. And then the accessories too are, I don't know. It looks better than some of the other horse shit.
That's true.
And it does exist.
Yeah, it is actually out.
Which is a big step in the right direction for blockchain bullshit, but
I think it really depends on how well this game does. And I
don't see
it does terribly.
I really don't see it going very well.
Because A, people don't like Epic games to begin with.
Yep.
And B, I can't wait for this to fail.
Yeah.
I can't believe they roped Godzilla into this stuff.
Boy, not just that, but Mechagodzilla and Mothra, and boy, yeah, whole thing.
It's $15.
$15 for Godzilla. I don't know.
Don't let Matt know this game exists, because I'm sure he will try it just to get a Godzilla anything.
Also, another Metaverse news.
I actually saw this.
Walmart Land launched on the Roblox, Michael, where you could go to Walmart. You can go to Walmart in a Roblox. This is the least interesting thing I've ever heard of in my life. Like, the combination of words is like scientifically designed to make my brain go, what?
It's scientifically designed to make any person within anything be like, why?
Yeah.
Like, there's no... People who play Roblox don't give a fuck about Walmart.
That's true. See, Walmart.
And people who care about Walmart don't care about games, to be honest. They're like, people who live in rural areas.
Yep.
Or up at like 11 o'clock at night and really want to buy a thing of Oreos.
But Michael, they have introduced a new cursed term to the internet. Did you read this story?
I didn't read the story.
You can buy virtual merchandise from Walmart aka Virch.
You guys can't see in my face, but my face is, I don't know how to describe it.
It's kind of the squinty Jackie Chan what the fuck face.
That's exactly what it is. Because I'm so fucking annoyed by that.
Virch!
And I'm so just like, what the fuck at the same time that I'm just like, and I had nothing to say. I was speechless.
Yep.
I literally didn't know what to say during that time frame.
Even the word merch I don't like, but this is even worse.
Virch. What the fuck?
Virtual merch, baby.
Merchandise. That's so... Oh, it's like a German guy. I got some merchandise.
It's got that Virch for you. Yeah.
Some nice Virch.
I don't know. I feel like every so
It
often...
says Walmart on it. It's the Virch. It's different than merch.
Every so often companies get the idea that they want to, like, we're going to make shopping cool. And it's like, no, you're not.
I have to admit, I'll give Walmart this much, is that it's interesting that Walmart chose Roblox to do this with, because it means Fortnite probably had no idea, they had no way of doing this into Fortnite or something.
Or either that, or Fortnite's going to launch the new Target Virch store next week, and where you can go buy all of your Dragon Ball hats in the Virch store.
This is
sponsored by Target.
My favorite thing about this news story is the announcement for it.
Yeah,
was the guy? It was like who was it? The
chief marketing officer of Walmart, William White.
That's right. Will White? What a fucking name that is. Like, I saw the video of him like doing the thing. Like the first 15 seconds are just silence, because I guess he was waiting to see if more people would show up.
Oh, right.
And there's like one dude. I don't know who. I don't even know who the guy is.
It's the same guy playing Babylon's Fall.
For all I know, it's the guy who recorded the video, and that's it. Like he probably showed up as a reporter or something. For all I know.
Yeah.
It's just one dude, and he's like, "Hey, Walmart's happy to present the Roblox Walmart Land or some shit." And then he's just like, his Roblox character walks away, which is my favorite part, which is why it's so fucking awkward. and then like, so it's just like, what the fuck was this whole thing?
Yep.
Like, you didn't plan any of this. Like, this should have been, you were expecting there to be like a crowd of Roblox people, and for this presentation to be like, yeah, it's the Chief Officer William White or whatever the fuck your fucking title is.
They didn't even have the Bethesda cheer squad there.
They had nobody. They didn't even have employees of Walmart being there as Roblox.
Well, they asked the employees to come, but because they're all seniors, nobody knew what a Roblox was or
they're
how to
either
get
seniors
to it.
or they're teenagers who play Fortnite.
Right.
None of them are like 10-year-olds who are super into Roblox right now.
Yep.
Or that one guy or a DJ who's really into putting music into it.
I mean, Roblox is like an abusive platform that exploits child labor and like
it's
rips
perfect
people
for Walmart.
off. It's great for Walmart.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect.
Also, dude, I mean,
they need to add scooters, those little scooters, and fat Robloxes, and just around it to make it
mobility scooters.
Yeah, to make it that much more real that you're in a Walmart.
They need to make old people log into Roblox to stand at the door of Roblox and be like, "Welcome to Roblox." Like
exactly.
Jesus,
it needs the entire experience.
They don't even do that anymore, do they?
They only do that at Sam's Club.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't know, because the only time I go to Walmart is at 3:00 in the morning if I really, really need something. I will never go to a Walmart on purpose.
There's still a guy there, but I don't think he's like a greeter. I think he's just there to be like, to take note if it looks like you're stealing something.
Okay, great.
As far as I know, at least the last time I went to Walmart.
Make my grandpa into loss prevention. Good job, Walmart. Let's see. In other big horseshit news, this happened last week, but I skipped over it because there was too much other news. Twitch is making people mad.
Yeah, I brought this up too, I think, our last podcast.
Yep. And I skipped over it because we didn't have the time, but we do have the time this week. So, it turns out that Twitch is lowering the profit split with the biggest Twitch partners. So it used to be that Twitch partners, it would be a 70-30 split. And if you weren't a Twitch partner, it's a 50-50 split for, cheers and bits and all that bullshit, subs. Now the top tier people are going to get 70-30 up to $100,000, and anything over $100,000 is going to be a 50-50 split. As somebody who does not have $100,000, I feel like this is when, that thing when people who work at Walmart get really mad when you talk about like raising the capital gains tax.
Yeah.
And you're like, but why? You're not about to give a $2 million house to your kid. And they're like, but I might, and I don't want the government taking half of it. And it's like, I don't really care if the top Twitch streamers make less money. After $100,000, come on. That means you've already made $70K, and after $70K, you are only getting half of what you're getting. I am not exactly rolling around on the ground.
Well, it's not that the reason I'm mad. I'm not even mad about it because I'm not a Twitch streamer either. But what worries me about it is the fact that like it's a Darth Vader situation,
right?
Of Lando, where he's like, I've changed
the rules. Yes,
pray I don't do it any further.
Also, their reasoning was
it's
specious.
My favorite part.
It's so specious because it's like, well, we have to bolster up our infrastructure. Now, I know that nobody's actually ever said this, but like, okay, Twitch is owned by Amazon. Amazon owns Amazon AWS servers. Twitch is running off AWS servers. How can Twitch not have enough money to get more AWS servers? And I know that fucking Daniel Twitch doesn't just pick up the phone and call over to Johnny AWS and be like, hey, Johnny, can you spin me up 8 more AWS servers? Like, they have to buy those from them because they're different parts. It's not just one big globular organization, right?
Which is strange to me, considering.
But by the same token, your CEO has dick rocket money. Fuck you.
Yeah, the whole thing is stupid. I mentioned it last podcast, was that the FAQ, they're like, well, why are we doing this? Like, well, it's to show that we're in it together, like 50-50. It's like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
And yeah, the fact that it's only people above 100,000, it's it doesn't affect me and even people I know who do Twitch streaming, because I don't know anybody who Twitch streams $100,000 fucking dollars.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Like, even the people that I know who do decently at Twitch streaming only make like a couple grand probably at most.
Yep.
Like, I don't know anyone who's making the money that would that this would affect them. The people that this would affect are like the big people, and I get why they're mad, because to them, or not even to them, this is true, to be honest, in general, is that they have essentially carried Twitch up.
Yeah.
The thing, and then now they're being like, yeah, they're now the deal has changed, and they were thrown off the mountain by Haihaichi,
right?
And they weren't expecting it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I get the idea of being mad. It was like the OnlyFans thing,
right?
When OnlyFans was like, well, we might have to ban pornography. And everyone was like, well, you fucking built your entire company off the backs of these people.
It's like when,
and now you're like, fuck them.
It's like when Tumblr turned off porn.
Yeah. It's like you've built your backs, so you built your entire company off the backs of these Twitch people who are getting like death threats and shit all the time, or stalkers and shit like that. So they feel like, hey, like, let us have the thing that we did this to begin with.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a little, but like
it also it would, the other thing, I every time Twitch comes up, the other thing that would be the other situation that would make this more bearable if Twitch was just like fucking dynamite at everything else, but they're not.
No.
Every 3 months there's a new story about like the music got copyright struck, or like, blah 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 blah. Take your pick, right? There's
that E3,
some new restriction,
was
or
it E3? What was that we watched that Twitch just completely fucked it?
Oh, I think it was an E3. It was because it was like the Square presentation. E3, yeah.
That was the stupidest fucking, the worst presentation.
Guardians
I've
of the
ever
Galaxy
seen.
that has all that licensed music, and then it like
their whole presentations without music. You remember? Just at all.
Yep. It didn't even have placeholder music. It was just.
Remember the montage?
Yes.
The montage of like, here's all our games, no music, sound effects, saddest thing, like
very weird.
The Avengers one, it was the one they showed the war from Wakanda, and it had no music, and it had a moment that was supposed to be like, and then this is when the beat drops, kind of thing,
right?
But there was nothing, and it was just the funniest fucking thing. Oh boy.
And then speaking of Twitch, or I should say speaking of streamers, or I should say speaking of people who make videos about video games on the internet, Video Game Dunkey is going into business as a video game publisher. Big Mode Games.
Yeah, so the fun thing about Video Game Dunkey is that I saw this video when he first released it. And the thing about him in general is that you can never figure out if he's joking about something or not. so for the first couple days, I didn't know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
Until the internet finally started giving him shit for it. And I was like, oh, this is supposed to be real.
Yeah. So I mean, this is somebody who's made a lot of money, right, on YouTube.
He's done really well for himself.
Basically going like, well, I've played a lot of games and I think I would like to be a publisher. I think I'd like to be involved with some of the development, but not like overtly so. And I think I could tell a good game from a bad game. You mentioned it. I don't understand the shit being given to this guy. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if it's a guy with a lot of money and he wants to get into the video game publishing business and he can help an indie studio get off the ground, and he's somebody like, I guess I was looking at Twitter and I saw one person kind of express that's like, just because you play a lot of games doesn't mean that you can tell the difference between a good game and a bad game early on in development. And I'm like, that's kind of true, but it's also not true, because if you've played a lot of games, you start to kind of see the patterns of what games work and what games don't.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a lot of ways you can also, if you're like introspective and intelligent enough to look at stuff, you can see like what games have potential and what games don't have potential. And so I think that you can, with enough experience behind your belt, if you were, it's like I said, an introspective enough person, like, get a good grip on like, this game will probably be good and this game will probably not be good. You could look at the previous output from a studio or from the development folks. You can look at people's portfolios. You could look at, wireframes or even mock-ups of stuff and go like, oh, that's a good idea. Or like, well, that's a little derivative of these things, but like, if it's executed this way, it might work properly.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think one of the main reasons he's getting shit for it is the fact that he is considered a joke YouTube character, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, his persona is like, just like, he's fucking just out of his mind.
I've never watched him, so maybe that's where
I watched a lot of his stuff. Like, a lot of his stuff is just like random just insanity.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like, but whenever he does a review on, his review ones are very thoughtful about what he's thinking of.
Right.
But then you also have to remember, then you have to think, is this a joke or not?
Right.
Because a lot of his videos are like that. Like, you'll watch it and you're like, oh, this is kind of funny. But you're like, oh no, he's being serious about this specific thing. But so lately not lately, but it's the easiest way to tell the difference is he puts like dunk view. Like, he puts like view at the end of it. It's just to be like, well, this is his review one. And then there's like one where it's like, this is like, if it's like a straightforward title, then usually it's a joke one, which is why I couldn't tell if this one was a joke one or not, because the title wasn't like that. It was like, it said my indie game publishing company. The way he is, that could have easily have been a joke thing.
Right.
And the way he talks is very, very specific. So a lot of people think it's like him being pretentious. Because he doesn't like a lot of things. When you watch some of the stuff he's played, like, he changes his tune every now and then after going back to, like, for instance, he didn't like Death Stranding like at all when it first came out. And then then the pandemic happened, he went back to it and he had a lot more fun with it. But like, so people are worried that that is the guy who's going to be making decisions. So it just comes down to that sort of idea.
But there's a difference. There's a difference.
No, that's the thing. Is that, like, but people don't know that.
Yeah.
People don't know the difference. Like, so people are looking at it as the online persona of Video Game Dunkey is like, I know games. So it's the idea of if it's the idea of fucking the actual Eric from Internet Common Etiquette, his Salvia version of him, was like, I'm gonna make movies. Like, it's like, you'd be like, well, that's fucking weird, but we know there's a difference between that guy and him in real life.
Sure.
But the rest of the internet doesn't understand that about this guy.
All right, apparently, I was gonna make the comparison of like, I'm not, I'm similar to how I am when I do RageSelect when I'm not on the mic.
Yeah, we all are.
But I pump it up for this, and I don't talk about a lot of other stuff when I'm doing this, as opposed to my regular life. So, I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that it was like, people seemed like they were really like one, they were just real quick to shit on the idea, and then two, that they were just like gleefully rubbing their hands together to be like, I hope he fails, right?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the fact that like people are just either A, jealous, B, they don't trust him, or C, they think the basic premise of it is annoying.
Yeah.
Which is I play a lot of games, so I should know what games are like or what good games are like. But the thing is, it's like he's not the first person to have ever done something like that.
Yeah.
Like the Game Grumps have their own studio, and they've made a couple of games already.
Yeah.
Like this isn't unheard of. It's just that I guess it's just because it's him. Like I said, if you watch his videos at any point, you'll be like, okay, I get why this guy. Because one of the running gags is that like he is Knack. People bring up Knack all the time. Or also Game of the Year is always Super Mario Brothers 2. Like that's just like that's a running gag with his stuff. And so they're like, well, that guy is the guy who's going to be like, I think this indie game should be made. So, like, but that's not what it's happening here.
Right.
That's his persona.
Yeah.
That's not, like, Video Game Dunkey is not a real person.
Also, it's not like he's going to, like, one, it's not like he's going to take over publishing for all indie games and decide whether every indie game lives or dies. He's going to go find one or two projects that he thinks look good and then put his money behind them and see what happens.
Yeah.
And two, it's not exactly like our current publishers are super cool, chill, relaxed people who don't do scumfuck bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be fine, guys.
I think it'll be fine.
I like Video Game Dunkey a lot, and I wish him a lot of luck on this.
Yep. Well, speaking of scumfuck video game publishers, let's talk about some trailers. This is a very interesting trailer.
This is a weird fucking trailer.
Wild Hearts, which is EA and Koei Tecmo are making a Monster Hunter.
It's straight up Monster Hunter, but with like
it's
some sort of magic box thing.
It's based on what is it? There was a game that this studio made. Tokiden?
Tokiden. Yeah, so the Tokiden was a
PSP.
Is the biggest Monster Hunter ripoff game series ever, to the point where I knew a bunch of people who knew what it was because we knew it as the Monster Hunter ripoff.
Right.
I didn't realize this was a spinoff of that, but it makes all of the sense now.
It's not really a spinoff so much as I think it is like it kind of inspired by the works that
something like that.
It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with that property, but it's like taking the experience that they had making that and then applying it to a slightly different formula with a new type of
so much more sense now that I know that.
Yeah,
because that series was those games were sometimes on the console.
Yeah,
those games were straight up. This is just Monster Hunter.
Yep, but
like with a samurai aesthetic. Mm-hmm. And it looks like they did that again.
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of interesting though is that they've added in, and it took me until I read it, in the news story that was attached to this today. They've added in Fortnite. So
That's what I was thinking when I was looking at it.
You build these like boxes, and then the boxes will either be like, here's a ladder for you to jump up on top of the monster, or here's a glider for you to glide toward the monster, or here's like a harpoon that'll punch it, and they're these blocks that come out of the ground, and they look pretty cool. Like the way
it is actually kind of cool,
kind of appear. It's gonna have 3-person multiplayer. It's going to be zone based, they said, so more like older Monster Hunter than newer Monster Hunter. All of the graphics in the trailer look hot.
It looks great. That's the thing.
Very nice.
It still looks like a really fun game.
Yeah. I think I think they looked at Monster Hunter Rise, and they were like, and Monster Hunter World, they were like, what if we made Monster Hunter Rise the graphics of Monster Hunter World with some Fortnite added in, like,
because the Tokidens did them pretty well.
Yeah,
they made multiples of those, and Monster Hunter does really well currently.
Yep.
And this would be a good way, because that's the thing, is there's not really that many games that are just Monster Hunter, because you can do that about fighting games. You'd be like, well, it's like, well, there's a million games that want to be Street Fighter, and there's a million games that want to be Call of Duty, and there's a million games that want to be Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people who want to be Monster Hunter.
Yep.
There's only like two really big ones. One was Tokeden, and the other was that free-to-play one that we did.
Oh, Dauntless?
Yeah.
Was that?
Something like that.
It might have been something else.
And that was the only other one I knew of. I didn't know anyone else who was trying to make something like
well,
this.
There's Metal Gear Peace Walker.
Well, Peace Walker,
which was basically Monster Hunter, but with helicopters.
Yeah, but they well, there's a partnership with them.
Yeah.
In fact, there's
you fight the Rathlos in that game.
There's a monster that's only in Peace Walker that is called it's a monster that's designed to look like Metal Gear Rex.
Oh, okay.
So like, and if it's only in that game, and I would love for it to appear in something one day.
Yeah,
because I think it looks really cool. Because it is literally like a monster that's like in the shape of it.
Okay.
It even has like a railgun like arm sort of looking thing sticking out of it.
Interesting.
It's fucking interesting. But yeah, you can't fight it in that game.
I don't know. This all looks pretty cool. Like it really just depends on kind of how it plays. And I was thinking that it would be interesting to see a non-barbarian, non-Asian aesthetic Monster Hunter game.
That's the thing is Peace Walker was the closest thing we had to that.
Yeah,
for a while.
Because this is definitely like samurais and oni, and it's very Japanese.
Yeah, it's more like because I think the explanations they're like demons or something.
Yeah.
If I remember, at least that's what I think what it was with Tokeden. I don't know about this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same idea.
Something like that. But yeah, but it looks good. I mean, it's supposed to come out
whatever they call them.
February of next year. And it looks solid. Big ass monsters, kind of cool little deployment stuff. Yeah, I mean, I ain't got no problem with that. Nothing I've seen here is bad to me.
That's the thing is it looks really cool with what you can do with it, but it all depends on how it feels once you start playing it.
Yes. I'm not sure. I don't know what kind of track record Tecmo Koei has for that sort of thing. But
yeah, especially with the building thing.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we got another game I'd never fucking heard of before. This was a bunch of Battlefield folks that left from EA and went over to Nexon to make. Well, there's kind of a whole story here. There was supposed to be. They were supposed to make a different game. Well, let me see if I can find it. It was. Oh yeah, they were going to make a free-to-play third-person sci-fi shooter called Arc Raiders that was announced at the Game Awards in 2021. And then
remember that
it got pushed back. And then it turns out that this game called The Finals that they had also been working on was actually way more done than they thought. And so they decided to put it out. And this is like a team-based, I think it's a battle royale. I think it's Teams of 3 battle royale. But the big thing here is that they made a completely and totally destructible world. So like... You can knock down buildings. You can knock holes in buildings. When you kill people, they explode into coins. Like in Scott Pilgrim, there's like a glue gun that you can use to like glue up the seams that are breaking down in buildings.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and you can just kind of tear everything up. And like this little trailer is like really bombastic. Like,
yeah,
you're not even watching it with all the dubstep, but
yeah, I'm not surprised it's dubstep, by the way.
Yeah, but it looks.
Yeah, look at that! Holy shit!
Like whole buildings falling down. I think it's been since what was it like? Bad Company 2 or something was the last time that we had a like you can blow up anything multiplayer game.
At least that it felt like that everything worked out. Because the other games like always say that, but they rarely ever like felt like that.
Yep.
But this one, like it looks more like that.
Yeah. And they're literally having a closed alpha, like starting the day that we record this.
Oh.
And the way you get in is you go to Steam, and there's like a button on Steam to join the alpha. It's going to be free to play. I mean, you know, Nexon has really been getting into like the weird online multiplayer space, and it's going to be interesting to see. Though. It's very frenetic. It looks like I would kind of be interested in watching somebody play it. It depends on how much damage you could take from bullets before you die about whether I want to play it. Because
if shit's just exploding like that, that's just going to get crazy.
You know what it kind of looks... Oh, my God. I've been shitting on like 2 companies just straight for the last like year. You know what it looks like to me, Michael? It looks like a Hyperscape, but good.
I was trying to remember the name of it. And thank you for remembering the name of it.
Yeah. Like
God,
kind of building...
what a fucking clusterfuck that felt like.
Or Valorant, but... not
yeah, this looks like it has the right idea for what to change in this formula.
Yeah, it's also flashing lights and dubstep and all up in your face. People exploding into coins.
People love the dubstep.
Yep. So yeah, I'm actually really like that. I signed up for the beta. I doubt I'll get in because I signed up late, and I don't keep track of that shit. But yeah,
sure
you can also interact with objects. You can pick them up and throw them down, and you can set stuff on fire. It's a very just, I don't know, do whatever and blow it all up. Who gives a shit? Oh, one of the things
that's exciting.
One of the things they talked about is that all of the physics for building destruction is being done server side, which is the reason that everything can be destructible is because they don't have to calculate and then proliferate how the things deform on the client side, then keep track of it on the server, and then update the information in the client without having to take away the physics data, having each individual console to process or PC to process the physics data independently. So kind of like what Crackdown 3 said they were going to do 5 to 8 years ago or whatever that was.
Except this makes sense why it's online only at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, looks good. We had a lot of really interesting trailers this week. We got one for Dubium. Do you remember the teaser for this?
I think I do. It's been a bit.
It's an Among Us where you're in a space station, and they've got these characters, these kind of cartoony characters, and there was a very short non-interactive trailer, but now they're showing a full trailer that shows these various characters killing each other off. But what I like about it is that it's also a third-person action game. When the traitor has been exposed, everybody shoots them with a gun in third person as opposed to voting for them to be thrown into space.
So it gives them a chance to survive the whole thing.
Yeah, and they've got combat abilities, and it seems like the various characters have various abilities, and it's got a really kind of Team Fortress 2e art style to it.
I really like its art style a lot.
And I like the fact that there's this one part where they show somebody outside doing external repairs, and then somebody inside sabotaging the solar panels so they blow up while they're right next to them. I don't know. This looks kind of cool. It looks like Among Us, except you get to shoot people, and I'm all in favor of getting to shoot people.
Yeah, there's a lot more character going on with them too.
Yeah. So it looks cool. I mean, it's the first time we've seen the actual gameplay and the art style for it since that original teaser.
Yeah, I forgot about that entirely.
Yep, and it looks pretty spiffy. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. There's also going to be a demo for this at Steam Next Fest in early October. So
hopefully this game plays well, though.
Yep, I hope so. Let's see,
because it looks great.
Speaking of games that should play well, I'm kind of I don't know if I should keep talking about Gotham Knights. It's out in 3 weeks, and
it's out soon. Yeah.
We got the PC trailer for Gotham Knights talking about how you're gonna get all the 4K ultra wide ray traced stuff, which is fine if the game is good, but I mean, it looks really nice in 4K with the ray tracing and all the lights and the shadows and the stuff, but I'm still dubious as to whether or not the game itself will be any good. I hope it is. I always want to maintain this, Michael. I want all this shit to be good. I don't want this to be bad. I want the Batman game to be good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I always want to be wrong about something.
Yeah.
The issue I have with this game is that I think everyone looks fugly as hell. Outfit wise, it's got the Injustice issue, where somebody's got an outfit that their default outfit in a trailer just looks fucking awful. But yeah, I'm sure I'm hopeful that there'll be enough costumes that are worth using if that
regular
don't make them look terrible.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I just get the feeling that we're looking at a cross between Avengers and I don't know, Sea of Thieves, where it's does anybody really want an Arkham game now? And also, this looks like a really, really, really generic version of an Arkham game. So
yeah, my issue is the fact that they're very heavily surrounding the multiplayer part.
Yeah,
and they're oh, and by the way, Batman's just fucking dead. Yeah, it's cool, I guess. Sure.
We skipped over this trailer. It came out a long time ago, but I thought I would put it in just for you, Michael. Perk you up. New survivor for Dragon Ball The Breakers. Farmer with shotgun from Dragon Ball.
One of the most popular characters that has very little to do with anything.
Yep.
The farmer with a shotgun.
Yep. has been added as one of the survivors of the Breakers, along with Majin Buu.
If I play this game, I'm gonna main farmer with a shotgun.
Well, he's the one that shoots at Vegeta and the other guy.
He shoots at Raditz. He's the first.
Raditz. Okay.
He's the first guy who sees anybody in the show.
Yeah,
he sees Raditz.
He's got like a Mitsubishi truck. And
he's got a power level 5.
Yeah,
and he shoots at Raditz with a shotgun. And it goes horribly wrong.
That's why it's power level 5, because he uses the scouter and his power. Okay, all right.
And so he's the first person you ever find out the power level of.
Yeah.
And he shoots at Raditz. Raditz grabs the bullet and throws it back at his ass, and he dies immediately.
Yeah.
But apparently, as time has gone on, he somehow either survived or was brought back at some point.
Yeah.
Because he's shown up consistently, randomly throughout the series.
Okay.
But he has become a meme consistently as well, because a lot of people tend to joke that he's stronger than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because he has survived so much shit.
Okay.
But people are very excited that the meme character is now part of this game.
I mean,
this weird fucking game.
Got to do something. I don't know. We only got this one again is another one's coming out in a couple weeks. We're gonna try it out.
This trailer is really cool though, because it shows a lot of stuff I didn't think that they added with Boo. Because Majin Buu is he's this weird magical being that was created by like a wizard.
Yeah,
and they added some stuff for him that like looks like has been used for like other games before. Like he can like teleport in because he's like a bunch of goo that he can like pop up somewhere. But the thing that's cool that they're showing right now is that when you get absorbed, you're actually within his body.
Yeah,
and I guess you could save other people within it, and then you can turn into
out?
Kid Buu. Yeah, so you can get back out. And I guess if you find the fat Buu inside of it and rip him out, the Kid Buu becomes Kid Buu. So I think that's really cool. Because there's a lot of love put into this in Easter egg stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it plays well, that's the thing. Who knows? It's been in beta for a while.
I would say, if I know anything, I think that it's that anime fans will play whatever the fuck you put out that's one of their favorite animes. Like,
it's kind of true for the most part.
Anime fans never turn up their nose and go, "No, that's too stupid. I don't want to play it." They're just like, "Nope, give it to me. Give it to me now. Give me a re-release. Give me a new version."
He's not wrong.
When did Kakarot come out? Like, we did DLC for Kakarot last week.
2020, I think.
Was it 2020?
I don't. It was 2020 because I was still working. I wasn't doing a remote yet.
Oh, okay.
Because it was January. Remember?
No, I don't. I mean, I remember what happened when we recorded it. We recorded the entire thing, but
yeah, that was a terrible time. You guys don't see, if you guys don't remember, that for the first attempt at that was because I was having a bad day.
Yep.
And Jeff was just mad at everything. Yep. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with this. This is going to be my weekend anyways, so I'm just going to go play this at home because I don't want to deal with this.
I was crapping on Dragon Ball, and Michael was being real mean, and we were both having really bad days, so.
It was a bad time.
Let's see. We got a story trailer for Plague Tale Requiem, kind of talking about what's going on with the various characters here, going to an island, like the Hugo's curse has come back and they're going to an island. I'm actually kind of excited to give this a shot again because the first one was surprisingly fun.
This is the sequel, right?
40 minutes that I played. Yeah, this one's coming out a little bit. I think it's later this year.
That first one was. I remember us playing it, and we were like, "This is probably going to be boring," and that shit got crazy fast.
Yeah, it was dark. It was some dark ass shit. But
also, the giant amount of rats is just horrifying every time I see it.
Yeah, the just oceans of rats. We got some gameplay from this a while back. It looks kind of cool. Like, I'm interested in checking it out. Like, there's a gameplay video that came out some months ago where they kind of showed I don't know, it kind of reminded me because I've been playing MGS5 or, like a big open area and you're trying to stealth your way through. You're trying to distract this guard and then kill this guard while that one's not looking and then go over here.
Yeah.
It was all pretty cool. And it looks really nice. Like, I don't know what engine they're using, but it's very, everything looks cool.
There's so much going on in it because the first one felt like this really melancholy, not a lot of characters that they have friends with, I guess.
Yeah.
But this one seems to have a lot more side characters that they become friendly with.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. We also got. You know what? We're gonna skip some of these because we're going over time. We got a weird trailer for the Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan and Little Hope, because they're coming. There's next gen versions that are coming out.
Oh, okay.
They're getting a new UI, updated art, event triggers, accessibility, and other stuff. And then Man of Medan is actually getting like another chapter, another section with some different death animations and some new content.
That's
so,
nice.
yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, I don't know that I'm interested in replaying these. I think I would replay something like The Quarry, but I don't think I would replay these smaller ones because
the smaller ones were just kind of weird because they didn't go far enough. I felt.
Yeah, they're kind of weirdly bite-sized, but
It was. That's why they were so. That's why they came out so fast. I felt though.
yeah.
Because they were just already designed to be like in and out kind of thing.
Yep. And then let's see. Last week, Michael, we you and I for Patreon this week, we played a game called Proteus that was like Doom. It was like, hey, somebody made Doom.
And that game was awesome.
And then I saw this trailer this week for one, from 3D Realms is still a thing.
Huh.
Did you know that? And two, this is called Cultic, and this is Blood. This is just the game Blood, but like a new game that was like somebody was just like, I really want to make Blood, and then they did. And it's like what do they call it? A boomer shooter, right?
Yeah.
Like lo-fi 3D environments with 2D pixel-based people, lots of weird gore and violence and stuff.
I always think it was weird that they were called that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know any boomers who actually played these.
Yeah, well, boomer has started to just become like, it means people, anybody older than me.
Yeah,
Like
that's literally what it means.
But the first episode of this is coming out. It's coming out in chapters, and the first one is coming out on October 13th. So, like,
that's interesting.
you know, I was like, oh, shit, that's right around the corner.
What day is that?
Let's find out, shall we? It is Thursday.
Oh, they were so close to a Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So, yeah, interesting stuff. And then last but not least, we got a very brief teaser for Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PC. It is a very short teaser. It is 30 seconds, and roughly 10 of those are logos.
Yeah, it's a lot of logos. And it's just like, hey, we're making the games coming out on the thing.
Yep.
And I would be more excited if this trailer was like, look at all the mods people are going to make for this fucking thing.
Well, you got to wait for it to come out to see the mods, but
There's going to be so many mods, guys. I'm so fucking excited.
yep.
I saw somebody tease this on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Somebody is making a mod for Spider-Man right now that makes him look like the J. Michael Straczynski, John Romita Jr. run Spider-Man. And so far, like, they got the head made so far. And it looks really good. So we'll see how the rest of the body comes out.
So you gonna buy PC yet?
I don't know. It's getting real close.
Ooh, I gotta get my poking Michael with the PC stick out.
You're not the only one poking me with that stick. I have another friend who keeps asking me about it. But I don't have anywhere to put it if I got one.
Well,
That's the issue.
throw away your bed. You don't need to just sleep in front of your computer from now on. Put a pillow right by your keyboard. Boom, good to go. All right, last but not least, let's wrap it all up. We got the news that Sackboy: A Big Adventure is coming to the PC.
Oh.
So Miles Morales ain't the only PlayStation property coming to the PC. October 27th, so right around the corner.
Yeah, that was the non-Little Big Planet one. It's
Yes,
just
those kind of the
pure adventure.
Mario Odyssey third person, one.
Which was an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, I just never clicked with Sackboy. Also, we got yet again another Returnal leak that appears to. It was somebody looking at an option screen for Returnal that had DLSS and AMD FSR and like dynamic resolution.
Yep.
Things that would only be on a PC version of Returnal. I don't know why they don't just announce that there's a PC version of Returnal.
Because they need the logos or whatever, Jeff.
The logos?
Yeah, they need all the logos on their trailer. The way the Spider-Man one was.
What?
All the logos, the images.
Okay.
Logos, LOGOS.
Yes, no, I know what you're saying.
Because of the Never mind. Fuck you.
Okay.
It's a perfectly good joke.
I didn't get it. I didn't get that one. It went over my head.
We're too tired.
Detective Pikachu 2 may still exist and may be even close to coming out. So Detective Pikachu 2 was announced for the Switch a little while back. It's kind of been MIA for a long time.
Yeah, for a long ass time. I remember they announced this when the 3DS was still being used as a console.
Yep. But then, strangely, people really got to not use LinkedIn anymore if they're in the video game industry. So what happened was a guy's LinkedIn page, Jonathan Murphy's LinkedIn page, updated, and in one of the work experience categories, it says, using Unity/C#, worked on one unannounced project and one nearing release, Detective Pikachu 2. So...
God damn it, guys. Stop doing that to your LinkedIns.
No, keep doing that to your LinkedIn. Don't listen to Michael. I love it when people leak it through the LinkedIn.
Just put only logos on there. You'll be fine.
Yes.
Pantomime what you worked on.
Yeah. So, yeah, we remember getting a Detective Pikachu. I never played the first one because it was on handheld. So
I heard it was I heard it was pretty good. Well, I wanted to play it, but I never did. It used to have one of the biggest amiibos, too.
Yeah.
Because they made an amiibo for it, and it was like 2 or 3 sizes, the size of an amiibo for some reason.
Huh.
I don't know why. They made it real big for some reason.
Weird.
But it was one of the, I think at this point it must be one of the rare ones. But yeah, I also remember that was the time frame the movie hadn't come out yet. So people were editing the trailer with the Danny DeVito.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because everyone wanted Danny DeVito to be Detective Pikachu.
Yep.
That and the mini memes about what if Detective Pikachu was investigating just horribly fucked up shit. Instead of just like the normal kid stuff that was happening in a Pokemon world.
Very true. And then last on the actual news parade, Oxenfree 2 got delayed. So Oxenfree 2 was supposed to come out later this year, and it's been delayed to 2023. No appreciable release date.
They're waiting for Ollie Ollie.
Well, Ollie Ollie World came out earlier this year, so
did it?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have any problem with that. Night School's last game was the drinking game in hell.
Oh yeah. Party something. Party hard.
No, that was one where you have to kill all the people at the bar.
Oh, it's party something. It's not Party Down. That's a show.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, and then we've got a few fun things to wrap up with. Some mods. First off, somebody made a mod for Skyrim that makes you that gives you a job. That gives you like a 9-to-5 paperwork job at one of the bars where you can go to the back room and there's a little mini game where you have to remember a series of words that come up on the screen.
That's so fucked up.
And then write it back in. And then on Friday...
After party. That was
after party, yes.
I knew it had word party in it.
And
that's
then,
amazing.
Yeah. After work, you could totally go and get paid because, I mean, I guess it would actually be kind of interesting early on in Skyrim to do that because when you need money, right? Like, instead of going through the same bandit camps over and over again,
well,
you just go get a job.
Is they need to get the guy who keeps saying, I used to be an adventurer until I took an arrow to the knee.
Right.
And he's always he's at a desk now at all times.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that guy does now. Because now he's no longer even a guard.
Yeah.
He's just a desk jockey.
He doesn't need to run that far if he's in a like a town guard.
I like it. The mod's called 9-to-5 office job.
Yep.
It's the literal name of it.
You just sit down and you work.
It's to start working 9 hours.
Yep. You just
he gets an hour lunch based on that.
You just do some stuff.
That's fucking amazing.
Get off work.
Jesus Christ. Is that all? Oh God, if it's all in real time, that would be even worse.
Oh, I don't know about that.
God, that'd be
terrible. Yep. Not to be outmoded, the internet's new darling trombone champ. One of these, let's see, what is this guy's name? Rudism, who does this kind of thing, made a full-on trombone champ controller out of a trombone.
Oh my God.
That like it tracks how far out the trombone is and then you blow into it to activate
that's fucking crazy.
Yep. And it literally like connects into the game. So I don't know. I'm about to later on today after we're recording this podcast, I'm going to record some trombone champ, but I have yet to play it.
I was supposed to learn the trombone in 6th grade.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was terrible at it, and I didn't practice.
Yeah.
Because we used to live in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't want to be weird and be a teenager sitting outside in the literal middle of nowhere, blaring a fucking trombone to the world. And I didn't want to be inside our 35-foot trailer doing that either, pissing off my family. So I was like, I either piss off the world or piss off my family, and I don't want to do either one. So I just never practiced.
I don't think I got the cheek strength for that sort of thing. I think my cheeks would hurt too much.
You also have to have like a really strong lung capacity, which was something they were trying to teach us at the time. But since I wasn't practicing, I never learned that skill.
I was going to say circular breathing, but that's the didgeridoo. You need to have the circular breathing for it because you can breathe out and then breathe in at the same time to keep the didgeridoo going. My friend actually
basically had to do that too, though.
Had a didgeridoo, and I could play it for like 5 seconds, and then I would run out of breath, and I would have to stop it. But until then, I was like,
that was something they were trying to teach us too. Actually, was that.
Yeah,
I used to. I sometimes I regret not having done that only because it would have been nice to learn all that breathing stuff.
Yep. Well, there's no time like the present. You know?
Well, it's a lot harder now because of allergies and stuff.
Oh, that's true. And last but not least, in the worst mod this week, the Kirby studio
holy shit.
shut down the lewd Kirby Chef Kawasaki wearing tiny bikini card set that somebody made in Japan and sold out of in momentarily. This is the orange chef from the Kirby game wearing a tiny bikini in a variety of incredibly sexual poses. I don't know who this is for, but sold out right away. So
apparently it started off as a meme somehow. I was reading the story because I was like, what the fuck? How did did this whole fucking thing even happen?
Yep.
But it was a meme for some reason.
Yep.
And I saw one of the uncensored ones because it's a lot worse when you look at it uncensored because your mind starts adding different things to it.
Okay.
But when you see it, it's just like, well, it's still stupid as shit.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as I thought it was because all they did for some of it was that it's just a Nintendo. It's kind of like if you looked at Kirby and he was wearing one.
Right.
Kind of thing. It's just that. But since the guy normally has like a big old apron, it just makes it look that much weirder.
Yeah.
Because it's not like his dick is hanging out of the bikini or something the way the censors are making you think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But it still looks awful.
Yeah.
It's fucking strange. I don't know.
Very strange.
I don't know who would want to own these.
Oh, well, come on,
but a bunch of people did.
It's 2022 and the internet is a thing. You know, something turns on everybody. Like,
that's true.
You know, I would never have thought that there was as many people who were into getting stepped on. But I know that there's a lot of people that are joking when Lady Dimitrescu was the sexual video game character du jour. But I know there were a lot of people that were like secretly like, yeah, haha, yeah, step on me, haha, it's a big joke, haha. No, really do it. Come on.
Remember they added that to Avengers? They added a voice line to Avengers that says that has that joke in it.
Oh, yeah. With who was it?
It was with Captain America, because since Captain America doesn't understand the modern world,
right?
He's like, I think he's talking. It's like one of the lines you can say if you're like standing near Lady Foster. And he's just like, Jane, I think the people are afraid of you. She's like, why would you say that? It's like, because I heard them say they wanted you to step on them. And he's like, that's not what they're Cap, I don't want to explain this to you, basically. But that's not what they mean. He's like, oh, okay. Like, and I guess that's the whole, I don't remember the whole thing, but like either way, she's like, I don't want to teach Captain America what this means is basically the joke.
Fair enough. Yeah, and that's it. That's the podcast. Boy, it was a big podcast this week.
Yes.
So Michael, why don't you tell the people where they can find you? You're not explaining Kirby erotica to me over here on RageSelect Podcast.
So you can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie television reviews. I had a review out for Dead for $1 that came out recently, as well as Confess Fletch, what we do in the Shadows, season 4. There's a lot of Fantastic Fest coverage currently. If you this weekend.
Well, this comes out on Sunday, so.
Sorry, I'm saying there should be out by the time this comes out. The Guzu Gallery is having a Godzilla thing.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to see some of the images for this gallery that they're doing this weekend that Tessa and Matt have entered stuff into. So if you guys are curious about that, you can always look up Guzu Gallery's website because or at least their Facebook page, because I know for a fact they tend to post that stuff on there.
Yep.
I don't know if you can buy any of them online or not.
I think you can. I think the auction extends to online as well. So.
Okay, cool. So that stuff should be on there. So I'm just giving that as a shout out to them because they worked very hard on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see what they did.
Yep. And, maybe after all of this time, you want to go saunter on over to patreon.com/RageSelect. I don't always pimp it out on the podcast, but it does take time and effort to do this. So, help us out. Help us to help you kill a couple hours on Monday. You need this shit. It's Monday. You don't want to be like, you need something to listen to.
Also, this is the first hat trick I've done in a while, huh?
Yeah, 3 in a row. 3 weeks in a row.
Got the turkey, guys.
Yeah. At the bowling pin that came out and shot all the other bowling.
It's been a while since I've seen one of those things. Yeah.
Anyway, that's
There's a weird pornographic one they made. You remember when that happened?
Oh, yes, I do.
That was a weird time.
I'm going to get into there. We're going to be going for another hour. I got to go. I got to go watch a weird TV show with Tony Shalhoub and fucking Neil Patrick Harris. I'll see you later. Bye. Get the fuck out of my house, or go back to your own house, or take off your headphones. I don't know.